Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lore Week. Wait, this isn't Lore Week. Is this Lore Week? It is time at long last. Long last? To go ahead and do this thing. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing. It's a very little known MMO. I don't know, fighting fantasy, I think? I'm not actually sure. Regardless, it's this random little known game that I want to talk about a little bit before we actually jump into it proper. And you'll forgive me for being a little bit behind. I've been running around like an idiot all morning. Not only trying to get ready for stream, but also dealing with some post office stuff. Oh, don't worry, I'll talk about that, let's see, that'll be next Thursday, a week from today, actually. Anyways. So, obviously, we were playing as the great Baker of Light in this game. What am I wearing? Oh, right, I remember those. That's the Ixali recipes gloves thing. Anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, honestly, I think this is the appropriate look for the Warrior of Light. I mean, just wandering around in this random robe. With actually, you say he looks like a hobo. That doesn't look like a hobo to me. That's actually a pretty nice outfit. Like, he's got the vest robe, and then he's got the robe underneath that. Belt. He's got a shirt underneath that, you can see. Decent pants. Shoes are actually not bad, too. I know it's kind of hard to see under the UI, but it's there. Please forgive me, my nose is especially clogged today, so I'm going to try to not be loud as I'm breathing. I was actually hoping to start during the raid and have something going on in the background. You know what? We could do another cue while I do my intro thing. Let's do a trial really quick. Hang on. What's the trial thing right now? Tank! Sure. That sounds like fun. Boop. So, once upon a time, there was a game that was coming out called Final Fantasy XI. Now, I don't know how many of you were around when Final Fantasy XI was coming out, but it was kind of a big deal for a lot of me and my friends. Because, oh my god, so this was in the burgeoning, let's call it the Bronze era of MMOs. I'm gonna let him tank that. In other words, MMOs were still kind of a big thing. And when I say a big thing, I mean like, oh my god, there should be an MMO for this, and there should be an MMO for that. Everything should get an MMO. And it was a fairly common idea, because people were really getting into the massive multiplayer thing. By the way, how's the audio balance? Because this is a good idea how loud the music's going to be. What am I playing? Gunblade, okay. So we were really excited about the possibility of playing Final Fantasy with friends. I mean, I've always been really big on co-op games. I'm one of those weirdos who's played Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy VI with friends regularly, just because I really enjoy doing that, and me and my friends enjoy doing that too. Anyways, getting off topic. So, FF11, yeah, and we spent time, you know, obviously it came out in Japan before it came out here, so we spent time looking up, okay, this is what I want to play, and he's going to be the tank, and he's going to be the red mage, and he's going to be this other thing, and it's going to be phenomenal. We were all excited and all hyped, and then FF11 came out. I don't know how to properly describe the disappointment that was. Because, oh my god. Like, I'm sorry, no offense to anybody who likes FF11, and by all accounts it has gotten to be a much better MMO, but when that game came out, holy crap. Yeah, so we all quit FF11 pretty quickly. Fast forward a few years. This is in the post-WoW era, which is the golden era of MMOs now. And it's like, hey, we're coming up with another one. Another Final Fantasy MMO. It's like, alright, we're a little more hesitant this time. But we're going to go ahead and see what we got. And me and Gary and Pax all were... It was just the three of us at this point. We were thinking, okay, you know, this might be good, this might be good. Let's look into it. Alright. And I got into the beta, because of course I did. I got into every frickin' beta at that point in time. And I played the beta of Final Fantasy XIV for a bit. Hang on, I want you to watch this scene without me talking for a second. Oh, it was terrible, Rex. Hi. Oh yes, it was the greatest thing ever. Oh, it was so bad. I say without hyperbole or exaggeration that FF14 Vanilla, as in what we nowadays refer to as 1.0, is without hesitation the worst MMO I have ever played in my life. Remembering. Yep, that's what I thought. Trying to remember how the angles work on the knockbacks here. So, we actually went ahead and after some thought, basically, it was at a unique point where we were just kind of sick of some of the other MMOs that are available, which were Lotro, which was going through a downpour, and WoW, which several of my friends have bowed out of. So, basically, my friends were like, look, we should just try to give FF14 a chance anyways. Okay, sure. So we did. And we actually played FF14 at launch together. Yeah. We managed about a week before we gave up on it. So then we walked away. We just walked away from it. Like, that was all kinds of no. Now, Venture's just asked a valid question. What was so bad about FF14? Why is he over there? What was so bad about FF14 at launch? I can't properly describe it without either spending a large period of time or literally just saying everything. Everything was wrong with it. The combat was arduous and piecemeal, and basically involved not doing anything. The in-combat region was non-existent, so the out-of-combat region was a huge problem. I'll go for this one, I guess. Let's see. The lag was atrocious. Whoop, that's my fault. That's my fault. I look away for a second to look at chat. That's on me. The dungeon design, if you could even call it that, was pathetic. The overworld design was atrocious. We're talking, I've seen NES games with better overworld design than that. Don't bother resing me, guys. Yeah, the story basically was incredibly threadbare. Obviously, they did have a story, but it was kind of the problem Guild Wars 2 Vanilla also had. It would be like, there's a cutscene and a story, and then there's hours or days of nothing, depending on your leveling rate. Speaking of which, they also had a system in place where you can only gain experience for like X period of time in your rest state. Once you ran out of rest, you could keep playing, but you can no longer do anything. Like, you wouldn't get any loot, experience, money, nothing. You would get nothing. I'll just hang out for a second. Ah, yes. Also, quests were dailies, in addition to that. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember what else was wrong with it. There was a lot. There was a lot wrong with FF14 Vanilla. Oh, my God. I got a commendation. Why did I get a commendation? I don't deserve that. I was just doing that to have something to do while I talked. So then FF14, ARR, A Realm Reborn, came out. And me and Pax, just really, Rex? Me and Pax decided to be like, alright, sure. Why not? And we were impressed by how much it was improved, but still didn't really get into it. Now, it's worth noting that ARR came out, I'm pretty sure, around when Pandaria was coming out over on World of Warcraft. Now, that's relevant because Pandaria is an amazing expansion. So, even though ARR was absolutely a huge step forward in quality... Hi, Bregman. And who else is here? There's, Cashel, I think? I think of him as Voli now, because I've disconnected his name. No, maybe not. Anyways, whatever. Oh, that's Zira. Okay. God. See, this is why you have branding in your names. Anyways. ARR was a huge step forward, and obviously fixed a broken, awful game. But it still just wasn't all that great for me and my friends. So we played ARR up until, I forget exactly where. It was in the lead up to Heavensward. And then we just kind of bowed out of the game for like 3 years. Last year, we both decided to go back to the game and see what we got. I was mostly playing in my off hours. While this is actually a great game to level in while I am working on YouTube stuff. And in fact, that's kind of what I tend to do. I'll hop on and just kind of do a random dungeon, which requires very little attention from me, while I am focusing most of my attention on whatever I'm working on elsewise. Now, Heavensward. Okay, if we're getting our mounts out. Here, hang on, let me get on my mount. The mount no one's ever even heard of. All right, yeah. Here, I'll be on Valvedrix's elephant's head here. Heavensward was awesome. I actually very much enjoyed Heavensward. I could name maybe 2 negatives to story, to use modern terminology, to Heavensward. So I was really into that. Stormblood, I didn't care for Stormblood all that much, to be completely honest. I mean, it wasn't awful. There were just multiple moments of... Huh? Really? But you... And you... Really? So... yeah, Stormblood was fine. That is a good way to put it. I didn't hate it, but if I was rating it, it would get a lot more than 2 negatives to story. And I will agree the patch quests did improve. I also hated Xenos as a character. I'm sorry, just my opinion, but Xenos was just amazingly not interesting to me. I was just bored every time he showed up. By the way, Libertas, if you're still here, thank you very much for the sub. I did see that earlier while I was getting set up. Long story short, we come to here. Now, I'm going to go and admit something. So this is going to be kind of one of the weirder premiere runs I do. We are going to do our ratings. We do have the ratings set up here. But we're probably not really going to touch on the gameplay axes all that much, because almost everything I would say about this game would be specific to the MMO, not the expansion. They've changed a couple of things in the expansion and added 2 new classes, one of which I'm on right now. But most of the gameplay stuff is just going to be in the nature of how they design level progression, dungeon design, boss design, that kind of a thing, specific to the expansion, which is probably good. And here's where I admit something that's going to make you guys hate me. I don't like playing FF14. I mean, I've played worse, don't mistake me, but playing this game has always felt like just awkwardly controlling a doll that looks just like me, but is a little bit delayed and doesn't do exactly what I want it to. So I've always got to just kind of adjust a little bit to try and make it work just right. You know? You probably don't know. Me and Pax have actually discussed this at length. Some games just click, right? For me, Mega Man is the easiest example of that. Mega Man just, bam, works perfectly. I understand perfectly. It just gels with me. But then there's other games where I just feel like I'm not there. It's not arduous. It's not bad. I just don't enjoy it. And I feel like I'm constantly adjusting in how I'm playing to try and keep up at all. That being said, I have always enjoyed the story of FF14, even ARR's story, which got very interesting, especially with the political drama that started happening in the post-ARR patch content, which was awesome. I will also give FF14 1 credence over basically every other MMO out there. No, that's not true. I can think of one other MMO that does this concept better. FF14 is ultimately one cohesive story following one cohesive party. You know, obviously we don't literally have a party in the restricted sense, although of course we're going to have that in Shadowbringers. But you know what I mean, right? Like in an FF game, you've got, you know, Cecil and Rydia and Yang and whatever else, right? That's your party. Same concept here. We've had mostly the same party for quite a while, with a few inclusions and a few exclusions every now and again. And it's been following their story cohesively ever since. The only other game I can think of that does that better is Guild Wars 2. By the way, this is my plug for Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is awesome. Anyways. Character I hate beyond reason, but their voice actor is on point. Yeah, that happens all the time, Kemzeus. What are you talking about? So having said all of that... Oh, there's Bragwin. I knew she was here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Anyways. So with all that said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to log off. And we're going to... What is my chair doing? Hang on a second. Ugh. Okay. Okay, we're okay. So first we're going to log out, like I said. And we're just going to sit here for a minute. What the? There we go. What the? Oh, wow. Is it a different thing? Can you guys see me moving right now? Or am I completely frozen? What the hell? Huh? Was it doing that earlier when we were playing? It's got to be something with the title screen, which actually wouldn't surprise me. What in the world is it doing? I'm not sure if it's going to play the movie properly, because it's dropping frames on the game, too. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is dropping frames. Okay, well, let's find out. Nope, it's super dropping frames. What in the world? Okay, they're doing something weird with the title screen. And now we're back. Yeah, it's just the title screen. What in the world? I think I can guesstimate on why that's happening. But that is just the bizarrest thing. Okay, so let's try this. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to... Okay, I was not ready for that. I've never encountered that. Where do I go to watch cutscenes? Because I need to do that anyways, and I think I have to go to the inn. I think it's an OpenGL thing, guys. I don't know, obviously. Where am I at? No, let's go... Man, I need to do something anyways, so I might as well do it now. Is it here? Yes, it's here. There's probably massive delay because of how much it stuttered earlier. At least I would guess. Oh yeah, so negative to gameplay, can't mount in town. Except I can't because that's just part of the game. You see what I mean about how this game would get a lot more negatives if we were actually rating the whole game? Here we go. That's right, negative didn't fix the problem. Oh god, I can just replay the Hildebrand stuff. That's hysterical. I can replay a lot of stuff. I've never looked at this before. WoW actually introduced new tech to bypass that problem, Omega Legion. In fact, they introduced 2 new techs. So I suppose I should talk about that. The first new tech was they have certain NPCs which have basically a buff attached to them. An invisible buff, usually, but a buff nevertheless.
Peggy 16.
One moment. And that buff prevents you from mounting within, like, 5 yards of them. So the NPC will always be uncovered by mounts. The second tech they introduced is they have a tech, and FF14 really needs this. So I'm going to try to click that comfy bed. Nope. Okay, let's try again. Nope. You notice how I'm clicking the Puff of Darkness? It's because the Puff of Darkness is in the way of the comfy bed. WoW introduced tech where you can click through people in order to access things. So, for example, if you have an NPC who's a vendor or whatever, and like 50 people dogpiling it, you can still click the NPC, even if you can't technically see it, because of the click-through tech, which is an awesome invention, in my opinion. Anyways, I should probably not talk about WoW too much in this run. I prefer WoW, by the way. Go ahead, hate me. It's alright, I understand. Even though I have literally quit WoW at this point in my history, I do still prefer it. To play, gameplay-wise. Where is... Looks like I don't have it set up for this screen. I'm going to have to set this up proper. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. No. There we go. I'm doing stuff, I swear. I know it doesn't look like it. Okay, so, one last thing. Sorry, I should have said this earlier. One last thing. Amazingly massive spoilers for FF14. Remember what I mentioned, how this is one cohesive story following the same party? It is basically impossible to showcase or even discuss any of FF14 without massively spoiling what has come before. So on the off chance you have not played through and have an interest in playing through FF14, leave. Because, spoilers. We're going to spoil ARR, Heaven's Word, and Stormblood. We kind of have to, because the game will. Make sense? You with me so far? Good. I'll give you like a good 30 seconds or so. Let's check my Twitter. What do we got here? Oh my god, I could have won $1 million. All I have to do is leave my info with somebody. By the way, I suppose I should mention while we're waiting... Yes, also spoiling 1.0 for the incredibly minimal amount of that actually matters. We have a poll going right now, which is extremely tied. We're up to 43 votes on each side. So if anybody wants to vote on that poll, it's about the Zelda lore run, which, by the way, is the next stream after this one. So make sure you vote on that, please. I do need everyone's opinion, especially since you guys are incredibly tied. I may just flip a coin at this rate. Good lord. And because you probably aren't going to hear me for 30 seconds, here is a link that I'm going to link now to said poll on the off chance you care and or have not seen it yet. I'd say that's enough of a warning when it comes to spoilers.
How many years have come and gone since that day?
Hey look, it's the worst villain in the FF series. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
How many years have I waited for this moment?
Oh yeah, I should explain that's us in red. Not that one.
For the one
that one
stood alone against the storm. For the one they called. The warrior of light.
Cut all that, right? Good.
What sayest thou, Master Matoya? We may accept this fate, or defy it, but we cannot deny it.
Deny? I am not wont to run from my troubles. Until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
This town certainly has changed, and not at all for the better. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Minfilia.
Oh, sorry. Dun dun dun. Suddenly, the wind music from FF3.
Tragedy, greater even than the seventh umbral calamity, must be undone. If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten. You must. Become the warrior of darkness.
Wait a minute, that's like a month and a half ago! Look, I thought about playing a Dark Knight, but I don't have time to level. So what do you want from me? Look, if leveling was quicker in this game, I'd play a Dark Knight. I will give them credit for avoiding the, let's call it the FF13 problem there. So let's unmute the game. So that's the intro. Now, I'm not sure when these are going to pick up. Here, let's, just for cosmetics, let's be a Dark Knight. We're like, here we go. Here's my Dark Knight. What do you think, guys? Anyways. So I'm not sure what this is going to be. Okay, so this is back when we were investigating a new thing at the Crystal Tower. At the base of the Crystal Tower, more accurately.
Look how many people there are. Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business. So we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
Hi, Valkorian.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Slash panic. We'll panic for food.
Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
By the way, I haven't decided yet, but the game's gonna have to work at it for me to not give a negative to story for the time distortion thing. I just want to be upfront about that. Let's explain briefly. During the end few quests of Stormblood, every now and again, several members of the Scions of Light, that's the main party, were going just like we just did, and then they basically go unconscious, but not fully unconscious, kind of into a coma, but still alive, but kind of soulless. And we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with them, so we assumed it was some kind of recurring plague thing. Now, as that was happening bit by bit, excuse me. Why didn't it play all? Whatever. I do actually have a full Final Fantasy lore run, Valkorian. Remember, on the second channel, not the first. So we're like, oh god, what's happening? And it was assumed by several people to be an attack, but based on the... well, it didn't think it was an attack, it was just someone trying to contact us. So, as a consequence, we've been trying to figure out ways to both defend ourselves from it and heal people from it. What you just saw happens pretty much right at the end of the Stormblood quest chains, where, actually, I think that was technically in Shadowbringers. Never mind, I take that back. It was right at the beginning of the Shadowbringers quest chain, which I've already done. This was before I even accepted the idea of doing a premiere run. That's why I'm already like an hour into the game. And we had what I hope to be this happen to us. Yep, this is the cutscene. We're good. Damn it, I just realized I should have done this. Hang on. Hey, Rex. This is for you. I am Hobo Man. So it's worth. God, I'm not actually sure where to start with this. So they haven't fully clarified if it's different worlds, different dimensions, or what. At least not from where I'm at.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Well, I suppose I should clarify. Different planets is the word I want to use, not worlds, because the connotation is different. And I also don't know if this is the same star system or if they're different star systems, because we do know there is a galaxy to speak of. It's actually something that came up during the Omega storyline.
Time has not yet come.
Well, in that case, this is all the same system. This is a busy system, then. Because, well, we got 13 planets here. Yeesh. That is a very crammed system. I've seen that in Stellaris a couple times. Can I just say really quick, I do love the aesthetic of the world bathed in light. Yes, they call planets stars because they're stupid. And I'm just going to stick by that statement. Oh, well, apparently it's different dimensions. See, this is why I just said this. Different dimensions, different planets. God, people. You know what? I don't even care. There are other worlds which are directly connected to the original world. Of which there are many. This is one of them. This is called the First. This place looks gorgeous, first of all. Love the appearance. Love how they visualize this. But this is the world that's been hit by the flood of light. In short, this is FF3's prequel. Not literally.
From endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
By the way, it's nighttime right now.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Guys, don't be mean to Dakota. Oh yeah, there's dialogue options in this one. There kind of were in the previous expansions, but not really. I should add as a quick addendum, if you start off as in Ul'dah, which is what I did on my character, this guy is the first guy you really meet, along with Alize and... looks like a girl. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. And and I just think it's interesting. I don't know if this is different based on your character. Basically, if this guy changes to whatever first guy you meet. Apparently, they look the same in all three paths. Never mind. Either way, I just think it's funny that they have him here for the beginning of this. Anyway, so... Alphino, that's it. Alphino, God. You can tell I'm not a huge fan of the character.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk yet, he'd reply. Yeah. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when.
Don't worry, I'll stop being a hobo in the next cutscene, I swear.
You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then.
Note the ring, by the way.
Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Hi, World's Best Pants. And no, I actually hate the Final Fantasy series. In fact, I've never even heard of it, Valkorian. What are you talking about? Yeah, that song sounds familiar. Look, I don't drink Neptune. What do you want from me?
Dizzying heights it rises. The gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy.
In brief, there is a crystal tower on our world.
It will all begin anew. Between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
Which we've already done canonically some time before this. Our crystal tower was built by the Alagans because they're evil and stupid. That's a massive summary. Okay, here, hang on. Let me change classes. Let's see. Do I want to be someone ridiculous? Yes, yes, good. No, I might as well be the actual class I'm going to be. Since we're going to be leveling through this as a astrologian. And I know what you're thinking, Lore, why are you being an astrologian? Well, it's my highest level class. That's the only reason. Don't mistake me, it's my favorite healer class, I think. But the only reason we're playing this is because it's my highest level, and no other reason. I actually was trying to level just about everything equally to try and push things up. But as you might be able to see here, my red mage is still 70. My paladin is barely on the verge of 71. Everything else is 60 or 50 or in that range. So Astrologian it is. It's one of the healers, Captain Zeus.
Halt! Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions. From where do you hail?
I'm from the Source. The Source is the term for the planet we're from, by the way.
The Source? What is this cryptic nonsense? Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass. That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
And the off chance you forgot that thing that happened like a minute ago.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more.
Oh yeah, can I just say really quick?
You met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
To be clear, I think this, my theory, as of this moment, which I do not know, is that this is in fact the dude from the Crystal Tower quest arc. I don't even remember his name. The cat guy.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private.
I suppose I should clarify that I think he's the actual same individual, not a reflection or an alternate version or whatever.
Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact.
See you around, Valkorian.
As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused? I will kill you, stab. I'll kill you with my cards, because I don't technically have a weapon equipped right now. I guess I should unequip this weapon, it just occurred to me. I have this one equipped because I've been trying to raise my light, and at this point I'm probably never going to finish doing so. Because only a few specific things give light, which is dumb, but whatever. Anyways, moving on.
Ah, that is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. And though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
This is a good time to mention that whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, FF14 is known for having very long cutscenes. So, FYI. I guess system, maybe? Huh. That's strange. Whatever, we'll turn the background music down. I've never had issues with it prior to this, so whatever. You're right, though. Come on. Yeah, I get tired of hearing when I'm playing Belvedrix.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Perfect. I'll be right back while this plays.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow Scions.
Why is he so quiet?
To put it simply, they are here in the First. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the Source.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to pencil in a story negative for that right now. I'm penciling it in because I'm going to give the game a chance to convince me that that doesn't deserve a negative. Penciled in.
In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the First, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Translation. Plot convenience.
As for your companions, however, Yustola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5.
For a little bit of perspective, it's been like a week in lore, from our perspective, since like Thancred left. I forget the exact timing. I've looked it up at one point. I forget it right now. Please forgive me. But it has not been a long period of time, is my point. So that's a hell of a dilation right there. It's not like an hour to 2 hours kind of a thing.
Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well.
Now, I think Rax and I actually talked about this briefly. Near as we can tell, or at least at the time, I don't think he'd actually beaten the game yet. The only point of this is so that our party members are established in the world before we get here. So that they now can explain to us what the hell's going on, rather than having all the exposition come from a local or whatever, and they're invested in whatever's going on in the local regional storylines. Now, who knows? Like I said, I'll give the game a chance to convince me otherwise on that, but the arbitrary time dilation thing is just kind of, really? Yeah, I know, right, Alphatrix?
As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. It's also been basically a century since Heaven's Word in the dilation.
Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
Now, this isn't a negative, but I wish the game had the balls to strand us here. I understand that would be a bit of a gameplay hindrance, but A, I think there are ways to make that still happen and make it make sense, and B, I don't know. I think it would be a bold move, which an MMO would almost never make. I know this because Warlords of Draenor, over in WoW, also didn't do that. But it was their original intent. So, quick story. In World of Warcraft, very minor spoilers, when you go from Pandaria into Warlords of Draenor, you actually go into another dimension. Actually, that's not quite true. Another timeline would be more accurate. And in so doing, you also kind of go into the past. Now, there's supposed to be this atmosphere of being stranded there, right? There's supposed to be this story arc of you being stuck there and basically having to build up a power base from nothing. That is immediately interrupted by all of a sudden having instant portal connection back home, despite no real logic behind that. The reason for that is because the original story was we were stuck there, and then players complained, and so they decided to add in. So you can kind of see where like the original story is, and then every now and again they just insert something. Where, no, we're totally connected at home. Now, I'm not saying this did that, because, Warlords was just kind of a mess. But I do wish they had the balls to just chop us off and say, no, you're stuck. Figure it out. That is true, Rax. Like I said, it's not a negative. I think that would be kind of cool, So, we need to figure out a way to get them back.
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning.
For 5 years, huh? It's pretty impressive.
As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift.
Verily, mine friend emboldeth thee to share upon me the answers giveth him from thine source. Pray, continue.
In that chaotic no man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future, that which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source.
No, the idea of Ventures is that we would eventually reconnect story-wise, right? Like, we would eventually find a way to come back. Probably before the end of the story, honestly. Think of it like Star Trek Voyager. I know that's a bad parallel, but hear me out. Star Trek Voyager had the will they get home again plot for a while, which was stupid, but what they should have done is had them connect with home earlier. Now, they did do that in Season 5. So, it kind of moved forward. Oh yeah, speaking of which, feel free to nuke spoilers, obviously. I'm not too worried about it, but yeah. Anyways, so in short, the whole story arc shouldn't have been about getting home, and I think the same thing here. But I think the initial story, like the Act 1, could have been about reconnecting back home. And then, in lore, in story at that point, you can traverse.
This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die.
Haven't I died in lore at this point already?
And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
No. for the moment.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
It's okay, at least I actually beat the final boss this time. Unlike, say, Spyro. What's funny is that was the last attempt I was going to make, too. Meanwhile, a few minutes from then, I'm telling you, cutscene overload, seriously. I'm going to spend a huge portion of this lore run, or this isn't a lore run, a huge portion of this premiere run just sitting here muted. So, be warned. Oh yeah, the reason I don't use auto-timing on the dialogue is I don't like the timing it uses. To explain that. No, Rax.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here.
Hey, Nevermore. Hope work goes well for you. That's true, I can next time.
Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough.
Okay, so real quick. I do have something to say here. So MMOs are MMOs are MMOs, and gameplay and story segregation is an unavoidable fact of a massively multiplayer online game, right? So we've all kind of accepted that. In fact, I've come up with a couple of phrases for that, including MMO time and MMO scale, right? Now, that being stated, sometimes MMOs will try to explain gameplay conceits in lore, and sometimes they won't. Now, this varies from game to game, but I've noticed FF14 has a habit of trying really hard to explain away a lot of its gameplay conceits in lore. Like, the Link Pearl thing is a real thing. We can reach up into our ears and actually talk through it. The actual crystal stones are things that are based off of Alagan tech. I don't remember what else. There's a lot of things. So, naturally, we are in another planet/dimension. I guess we could say we're on another planet in another dimension. Let's just be fully clear about that. And, well, oh my god, what are we going to do? We don't have money. We don't have a way to access the bank or do any of that. If only there was some way to do that. Now, most MMOs, in fact, I would go so far as to say basically all MMOs would just hand wave that away. You go into town and there's a mailbox and there's all that stuff. But no, here they've decided to go ahead and come up with this frankly ridiculous. It's like actually funny how ridiculous this explanation is for all of the gameplay conceits here. Oh, don't worry, it's about to get worse too.
Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough, not to matter.
How convenient!
Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
I think this is funny. Don't mistake me. Like, I really do. This is hysterical. Yeah, that... Really? Really? Slump! Shake head.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
So really quick, Alex, no need to feel bad, really. It's all good. I'm glad I managed to put through it. It's a shame, because the game was actually doing pretty good in my estimation until I started running into some of those later bosses. I mean, like, what is it? 3 of the negatives were bosses and 2 of the negatives were motion controls, and that's all 5 negative, for God's sakes. So...
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails?
Hair, too.
Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass.
Yeah. So, this is nonsense. I mean, if you actually sit and think about this for a moment, and I know this sounds like a strangeness, but try to picture what this would do to impact this world, as well as the one we left. Like, actually think for a moment about how we could use this to establish trade between the two realms, or aid, just straight up giving aid. Like, oh god, you guys are low on food? Let's fix that, you know? Like, there's so many things wrong with this.
From this moment forth I will be your Isnefis, and you my Snayak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand.
Okay. Oh, of course, I gotta be all dramatic about it. There we go. Yes. Estons interius era vehement. Oh, sorry, wrong thing.
'Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Yeah, sure. Hang on. Scribble. Hang on. Dear Tataru, you're still one of the best characters in this entire game, and I hope you can manage everything without me. P.S. If I come back all old, it's because of stupid time dilation. Sincerely, Runner. Oh, I forget how they pronounce it. They say her name in this, and I keep trying to remember it, because I need to say it whenever I play FF5 again, which will be early next year. Kryle? I can never remember. Oh yes, please, PPS, please send lots of suntan lotion. No, really. Kryle. I'm gonna have to try to get used to that. It's pretty much the opposite of how I want to say that, which is why I'm getting so weirded out by it. Which is funny, because in Imperial, that would be pronounced Kryle. So I just need to think of that. Kryle. I can do that, Kryle. But no, we're going to send a message to Tataru.
Consider it done.
Hopefully she'll get it in something other than 5 years' time. I'm kidding, it's the other way. Oh, well, so it's not pronounced how it is in Imperial. God damn it.
That was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings.
Like this dude Kryle.
They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium.
But I like the mask.
Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
So, for those of you not aware, it's kind of been a pseudo-running joke that my character has his face covered all the time. In fact, for the longest time, I had this whole faceplate thing going on. And as soon as I got it, I used the Ironworks helmet for the longest time as a cosmetic. In fact, even when I was fighting Omega, I actually had this exact same outfit on. Or this exact same helmet on, I should say. I didn't have this outfit because these are robes from Shadowbringers. There. Is that better, guys? No. God, that's such a dumb hat. So I'm just curious what we got here. That's kind of a cool hat. There we go. Perfect. How's that work, guys? I apparently don't have summoner gear. I also haven't set up my summoner bars, as you can see. What do we got for Scholar? Oh, that's dumb. Light Mage. Do I even have a hat on? Oh, it's kind of the hood, I guess? I don't know. Dancer, which actually is just my normal outfit there. What do we got for Ninja? There we go. Poivict. Monk is kind of eh. Dragoon. I actually have the helmet off on Dragoon. And nobody likes Dragoon armor anyways. Blue Mage is dumb looking. This is my old main. Let's see here. Weird circlet looking thing. Dark Knight. I already showed you Dark Knight. Gunblade. I technically already showed you this. I got a headband going on. Metal Gear. Oh yeah, by the way, I should explain why this is the pet I use. And this is always the pet I use and will always be the pet I use. So this is my sister, basically. I even talked to her about it in real life, and she agreed. So the idea is, she likes to just perch on your shoulder. And then I'm this giant tall thing. And that's us in a nutshell, right there. That is pretty much our relationship there. For those you know, she's like a good 1.5 to 2 feet shorter than me. Obviously not quite to this disparity. But we've always joked that, like, in a fictional setting, I would be the giant and she'd be the, you know, the tiny thing perching on my shoulder. Being like, go that way, go do that thing. So as soon as I saw what the Puff of Darkness did, I'm like, oh, dude, that's the pet forever. So this is actually my highest level tank. Which is funny, because I don't like Paladin. I say that in current tense, I shouldn't. I didn't like Paladin. I hated Paladin. I put up with it because it was the only class I had, and because I figured I was going to be tanking in endgame. Yeah, kind of like that, Killaric. But I hated Paladin before Shadowbringers. I haven't actually played Paladin all that much in Shadowbringers, so I'm not sure if I'd like it. But just because I want to get my opinion out here, before Shadowbringers, this was my favorite tank, Warrior. This was just a lot of fun to play as. But no, you may have noticed I jumped over it. My actual favorite outfit is this one. It's very simple, but it suits me very well. So we'll use this for cosmetics. How's that sound? So we're up to 3, I believe, now. Like, I want that hat in real life. I'm not even joking. And I have that robe in real life, or at least something kind of like it. I thought about it, Rax, but then I'd be behind on level. And remember, level gap, right? Or level wall. I mean, we could... See, the problem is Samurai also has no self-heals. And I'm really I've played too many MMOs to feel comfortable leveling a pure DPSer through quests and content. Because there's too many MMOs where that's not balanced properly, so it's a colossal hassle/chore. That's why, up until now, I've been leveling Red Mage as my main, because it can heal, res, melee, and range DPS. And that's the reason. I mean, Red Mage is fun, don't mistake me, but that's not why I started leveling it. Anyways, time for some weirdness.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
So, real quick, this is the Warrior of Darkness we encountered during Heavensward's story. He had his own little story arc where we were trying to fight back against him because he and his groups were being manipulated by the Organization 13. I can't remember their name. I can't remember their name. You know, the Org 13 people. He is apparently here back. I'll let him speak for it. But I just wanted to mention he does specifically look like us. That's intentional. The Asians. Thank you, the Asians. I like how you knew who I meant. Anyways, he was an interesting enough character, and he had a pretty cool story arc back in Heavenswards. The long and the short of it was he's one of the big reasons why this Flood of Light thing is happening, because they basically wiped out all the sources of darkness on this world, and balance. As a quick aside, can I just say something really strange here? So I love the idea of light and dark being balanced, but I've sat and thought about this every now and again. It's a really uncommon trope, at least in the games and stories I tend to frequent. Like, Star Wars kind of started to lean in that direction, and then went firmly against it. Like, there's no balance in Star Wars. The balance is the light side, and the absence of dark. Kingdom Hearts started to go in that direction, and then kind of reversed course again, you know, so it's just... Most games and most stories don't actually do it. In fact, I think FF3 is one of the only ones that really had the light and dark balance thing going on. And this one. And I just want to say that because it probably sounds like I bang on this point all the time, but it's nice to see a game actually have a balance point between light and darkness, finally, within the actual story. Anyways. The Warrior of Darkness.
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been?
A century? Maybe? I don't know. Time dilation.
That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Asians. Let them guide us to the source, and tried to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. By the way, hi, Maria Lemmy. And hello, good senator. What's up, guys?
A 100 years. 100 long years.
Yeah, everyone you ever knew is dead, by the way. Just as a heads up. Or maybe they aren't. How long do elves live in this setting?
My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear.
It's okay, you can still walk on the ground.
I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
Well, my name's Sora, this is Donald, this is Goofy, and my friends are my power.
You were summoned to save the first.
I'm barely kidding. I'm pretty sure the reason that he's here is because of we are his anchor, basically. I also have a strong feeling that that's part of why so many other people are here, too. Basically, all the rest of the Scions is because of their connections to us. Hence the Sora.
A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end.
By the way, can I just say he has a really good voice actor? Exactly, Valvatrix.
I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Clonk! Wow, that's how I sleep? It's gotta be super uncomfortable. No wonder I'm so ornery all the time. One thing I'll always give FF14 is the quantity of voice acting. And from Heavensward on, the quality of voice acting. And I have to say it that way because I've played ARR. By the way, quick side story, I played ARR and then immediately went into Heavensward, like with no pause whatsoever. So it was literally I was doing a quest and then there, you turn it in, then you get up the next quest, and all of a sudden Alphino's voice actor just abruptly and demonstrably changes, just from one scene to the next. It was very jarring.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest?
Yeah, so I had a visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
I like how they visualize it, by the way.
The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Meg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest.
Hi, Larian.
Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement.
One quick aside. One thing I have liked about Alphino since basically the post-ARR stuff, ARR stuff, is that we're the hammer and he's the talker. Like, there's actually a decent pairing, for lack of a better way to put it, between that combination there, which I've always liked. All of the other characters have their own little specialties and personalities and whatever, but Alphino, he has always been the bard, the diplomat. And I honestly wish they would emphasize that even more than they already do, because I think it's a cool idea, since we're the heavy. Like, in lore, we are by far the powerhouse. And for the record, I know this is going to sound strange, but I actually really like that. I like the idea of being the powerhouse behind the face, behind the other people. I like being the Darth Vader. I mean, we talked about that during Fire Emblem, even.
Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armorang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe.
Yeah, like, by contrast, so he's a scholar in lore, I think, and that's a healer with support. She is a red mage, which, enough said, the contrast there. And then, let's see, Alphino's an astrologian, Ishtol is a black mage, I think? Thancred was a rogue, now apparently he's a gunmaster, or gunblader, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
So, will it be Calicia or Armorang? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount.
Wait, did I just say the wrong name? I meant Urian J is the astrologian.
You must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
And that's where we are. In fact, my actual main story, and some of you probably already noticed this in the upper left, is select a path. That's actually the step I'm on. So, woo. So, we can do Alphino or Alize. What are you thinking? A blue mage? Ha! Got that one. I'm not going to link another. We already have a straw poll active. I don't want to have another one active right now. We could just flip for it. God, we're up to 100 votes on the other thing, consequently. Whoops, wrong button. There we go. I guess I should get over there now to begin with. So let me say one thing I do like about FF14. This right here is something I like about FF14. It has, I'd say, the second best fast travel system I've ever seen in an MMO. Oh, hey, there's this weirdo right here. Who's this weird, awesome person with a bow? Why would you wield a bow? God, that's so strange. Especially a nobody bow like that one. Tell me, seriously, that totally looks like a nobody bow from Kingdom Hearts. Look at that. That's not a complaint. That looks awesome. Anyways. Oh god, there's also a Dragoon here. But he's got a terrible spear. I mean, look, that's just the most boring spear. It's just a pike, really. Okay, I literally caught it like this. Let's try that again. Coin says Alize. I'm debating if I really do want to go ahead and push Samurai instead of Astrologian. I don't want to run into the level wall. That's the problem. And of course, Healer's more useful. I also admit the idea of trying to do like mini boss, the solo mandatory bosses as an Astrologian sounds awful to me. I've heard from basically everyone that you'll get level gated if you do MSQ, which is what we're going to do, consequently. We are not doing side quests. Where is my Samurai? Samurai 63. Yeah. I could do Red Mage just because it's 70. Although I gotta be honest, I don't actually enjoy Red Mage all that much. Nah, for the interest of efficiency, let's go ahead and do Astrologian. Blah, whatever. Actually, you know what? Hang on. Hang on, let me think about this. No, you can't ban people for puns, Valvedrix. Sorry, I'm really torn on this. So, can I just complain about FF14 briefly? I know this is probably the wrong venue to do that in. I think leveling alts is too slow in this game. Note that I specifically say alts. Rax and I have actually had extensive discussions about this back and forth, and I've actually talked about it to a few of my other friends too. But I do think that leveling alts should be faster. I do think there should be ways to speed it up more than it is currently sped up. I've come up with several ways to do that. They don't do any of those. Like, the only thing they have is the earring, which I have on, actually, right there, the Aetheryte earring, and food. And that's basically it. Now, the reason this is such a big problem for me is because I have to balance what I actually want to play with making sure I don't fall behind too much in the leveling queue, with being actually useful to other people for things, with making sure that my queue times aren't going to be crap. Like, all of those things I have to balance. And that wouldn't be an issue if I could just level an alt substantially faster. In that case, I'd just say screw it, push Astrologian, and then go work on some other stuff. as is, and I've been debating this for a bit, as much as I love the idea of playing a samurai or a red mage, I think we're actually going to go ahead and do paladin. Now, that being said, I have a question. When do you get the role quest? When does that happen? So if it requires 72, then I'm already good to go on the healer role quest, right? Unless it's a continuous arc, in which case we're screwed. Why does it matter? Because my healer is already 74. In short, I could, hypothetically, actually show off the Astrologian quest arc and the Paladin quest arc. But if it's continuous, like, say, WoW Legion, then we're screwed, in which case I can't. So if it's an arc from 72 to 80, that sucks. Ugh. Blug. Blug. Alright, you know what? Fine. In the interests of speeding up the run, I'm going to give a gameplay negative. So we're just going to commit to that. I've heard it from everybody in the world, including people I know, personally. So, kunk. We're just going to go ahead and give the gameplay negative there. For the level walling, for the level gating. And we'll go ahead and do Astrologian. Whatever. I am not looking forward to that, but whatever. It's my highest level. Thank you very much, Gold Tech. Much appreciate the support, as always. Thank you, sir. But you didn't tell me where you want to put that towards, so I'm afraid we're going to have to stab you horribly. Okay. Now, I don't know my way around town yet. I've only been here a couple times, so bear with me here. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and admit something, and you can go ahead and make fun. I don't care. I haven't memorized the new layout for the Astrologian stuff, and I'm not going to. I just don't care enough. Who I put cards on is usually dependent on the specific circumstance now, rather than the person who would benefit from it the most. Ready to depart, Alice will be overjoyed. She was concerned. She impressed upon me how regrettable the timing of her summon was, repeatedly. I only hope that my part in sending you to her will garner me some measure of forgiveness. Here, this is a letter of introduction addressed to a man named Cassard, master of a merchant caravan. There are a few who know the way of the desert as well as he does. Find him at Amaro Launch, and he will see you to your destination. Bzzz. I suppose I should pick up the other quest while I'm here. So when we get there, Alphino. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast. You'll need a mount capable of making it through. Here's a letter of introduction presented to this dude at this place. He'll take care of you. Okay, moving on. Yeah, exactly, Rex. Now, where is... Oh, I don't have it up. Who's this Valvedrix lady? Why does she have, like, death armor on? And why is she a red mage? Let's see here. Baldur's Gate 2. 3. Baldur's Gate 3. Okay. You ever hear me do that? It's because I'm trying to mount. Where are you taking the game? FF7 all over again. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. If you come looking for wood, I might have spot for another god. No, I got this thing. Oh, a friend of the Exarch. Hoping to meet someone in... are you? I shall be your guide. I was about to set off foot for the outpost here, as a matter of fact. We can leave right away. Assuming you have everything you need. I do, as it happens. Man, there's nothing I love more than getting Aether Currents.
Areng. From this parched earth, the nation of Nabath, Areng, once rose. When I journeyed here, long ago, I spoke with a sun-weathered elder. He told me Areng meant majestic land in the language of his people. And so it might still be, were it not for the light's unrelenting onslaught.
Oh, I actually agree with you on that, Omega Legion. Unlocking flying used to be fine, and then Legion came out. Actually, Warlords, but yeah. No matter how many times I come here, the heat never fails to catch me off guard. Don't be surprised when the temperature drops at night, though. The sky's still bright, of course, but it's brisk enough to make you shitter. Now, the Exarch's letter said to you I was to take you to the inn at Journey's Head, which is where Alice, a friend of yours, is staying. But that's a fair old distance. I propose we make a stop in Fula to break up the trek, allowing me to attend some business, and for you to enjoy our local hospitality. Sound good? Good. Alright, you lot. I'm off. Better not see the goods covered in sand when I get back. Southwest, straight as an arrow. And then he oh god, he's gone! It's okay, at least I can fly around here. So, this is another thing I don't like about FF14. You see how slow I'm going? The way this works is, after a certain point in time, usually, basically when you finish a zone, your mounted speed is really slow. Then, you get to a certain point in the game, where usually where you finish the zone, and your mount speed actually gets unlocked a bit, to the point where you go substantially faster. Right about the point at which you don't care anymore because you're done with the zone. Then you could run around and get the Aether Currents, which also requires quests, which also means you're basically done with the zone. Stop here a moment. This is your first visit to Ark, is it not? Before you cross the river sand, you need to turn around and feast your eyes on that. On the destination. Feast, 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 feast. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, goody, Rags. So they built them big, didn't I? That's Kasr Sharl, a fortress meant to protect the northern reaches of Nabath Areng. Seeing what was left behind, I believe it when they say it was once one of Norvon's mightiest nations. At least until the flood came along. Great chunks of Nabath Areng's lands were lost to the light, its city included. The few who survived didn't see much point in staying, and most of them, anyway. No, not many choose to come here these days, not with everything in ruins. Even that hulking great fortress has become little more than an Amuro roost for me and my caravan. But not everywhere as deserted as this place. Just wait until you see Mord Soak. Let's press on, shall we? Yeah, actually, well, whatever. I would call this padding, to be 100% blunt. The slower move speed just feels like something that is deliberately there to drag out the experience. Something I've talked about extensively is Eric. I talk about Eric all the time. Yeah, I obsess about him, really. I just can't get him out of my thoughts. And the usage of travel time as a deliberate measure of padding to force players to play an MMO for longer periods of time. Now, this is actually a fairly large topic, and I don't want to delve into it too much right now. Whoops. But the long and the short of it is that travel speed is something that's usually very carefully designed in an MMO format, specifically to drag out how long it takes to go through a game. This is true for any MMO, by the way. This is not unique to this game. World of Warcraft is actually a pretty good example of that. There are huge chunks of WoW where you just spend going from point A to point B, even with all the convenience features that have been added to that game to travel. Either way, thank you, Eric, for real. Much obliged, as always, sir. Now, you know the question. Do you happen to know where you want to put that? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. You know what? It's not even worth mounting right now. Hello, Kazelzao. What's up? Is it down? It's down. So, I have 4 letters in my mail that have been here for like a month at this point. What do we got here? This one says, do not open until Shadowbringer PR, to be used in case of Sin Eater sieges, expeditions into the Crystal Tower, or other activities where a caffeinated warrior of darkness is a powerful tool. Espresso con panna, the surprising addition of sour cream. Ew. May catch some off guard, but they will invariably be won over by the subtle harmonies of this rich blend. Sour cream in espresso? Ah. Thank you, Rax. I got another one from Rax. The Crystal Exarch asked that I assist in your quest to purge the flood of light from the First. This should allow you to move freely across Norvrand. I do appreciate that, so I will take that as well. Thank you. Apologies for the coffee. Whoop. I thought there was an item there. It even says there's an item there, but now there isn't. Is anyone else seeing that? There's like... Okay, now there's an item there. What the hell? Apologies for the coffee. I hope this will be adequate compensation. Persimmon leaf sushi. One of the many varieties of the Hinjan dish sushi, this iteration consists of sweet vinaigrette rice topped with fish, pressed into a narrow rectangle, and finally wrapped in green persimmon leaves. I hate that word. There's like 5 ways to pronounce it, and I stumble over it every time. Or 5 ways you can interpret pronouncing it, I mean. I do love me some sushi. Hang on, let me put this... put that there. Hey, look, it's a Zand card. Oh, no, don't delete. Here, get out of... I can't interact with stuff while in the menu. No! Okay, pretty sure I already had a Zand card. Just wanted to verify really quick. So we're going to put that there, we're going to put that there, we're going to put that there. I think that's everything. Yep, okay. So we'll put the sushi right there, and the espresso right there. There we go. Hang on, I got one more. It's from Valvedrix. Apparently I'm supposed to sit in my chair and drink my goddamn team. I actually really liked Tiki Masala in real life. I don't think I've ever had a masala chai, though. The Corthan leaves may provide the base, but it's the cinnamon and amber cloves that add the signature sweet and aromatic flavor to this traditional beverage. Put that down there, put that up there, put this over there. I'll put the tea right there. Thank you, both of you, for the weirdness. Yep, come here, Rex. I'm thirsty. Oh yeah, you told me to take the mask off. There. I should probably put a real weapon on, too. Yep, that's what I thought. Oh yeah, just because anybody, I feel like showing. If anybody's curious, really? Fine. This is where I'm at in my light farming right now. So, not quite halfway. Here we are, by the blessed shadow. I love this town. Not just full of Mord soak, not just full of Mord, but Humes and all manner of others too. It's long been a refuge for folk displaced by the flood, so the population is nothing if not diverse. Oh, have you met a Mord before? They might look like shifty little bloiters, but a more welcoming lot you could never wish to meet. Speaking of which, we should pay our respects to Master Gengen. I'll go ahead and let him know we've arrived. It's pretty grindy, Bragwin, but nowhere near as grindy as the ARR thing. You remember the Epic 1.0 and 2.0 weapons in EverQuest? Think that. Month-old tea. It's kind of fuzzy. I never actually did the Stormblood one. I didn't even start that one, so I don't know how bad that one is. I didn't like the look of any of them, so I was just like, eh. Yeah, I don't think I've stepped foot into a Eureka. Hey, it's a kobold. I've unlocked Eureka, but I've never stepped into it.
Master Gengen, this is the friend of the Exarch I was telling you about.
Very good, very good. Though friend or no, all are welcome in Mord's Souk.
Souk is Mordish for city. As things stand, this souk boasts the largest and busiest marketplace in all Armorang. You'll find ore from the mines here, of course, but all manner of other things too, many of them rare. As I told you before, not many visit Armorang by choice, but Mord Souk's a different story. Merchants come from miles around to purchase the relics the Mord dig up.
Aye, that they do. For Mord do not dismiss the spoils of the earth. We clean them and polish them and reveal to the world their true value. That is why they come here, come from far away, come with much money. And so our souk is always busy, busy, busy. No such thing as a thing no one needs.
You say that every time, Master Gengen. Some sort of family motto, wasn't it? Or perhaps a Mord philosophy, for which we should all be very grateful. Would that everyone was so willing to take in refugees regardless of race or creed. Now then, if you intend to spend any time here, you'll want to gain the trust of the locals. And there's a little custom all newcomers are expected to observe.
The cracking of the coin purse. You buy one thing from the market. Price can be low or high, just as long as you buy.
As the good Mord says. In fact, the Exarch sent a little something to cover this very expense. A Verbert gold piece, no less. The first I've held in years.
Verbert gold? Real Verbert gold?
Here, newcomer! Crack your coin purse with me!
Oh no, you want my goods, newcomer. I have jars and pots all smooth and shiny.
Over here! Come and look!
You buy, you buy?
Enough of that! Calm, I say! This one must still journey through the barrens. Nothing bulky, nothing heavy, no pots. Nothing better for the road than a full belly. Spend that piece at Ronron's place, yes? Eat for 3 before you leave.
Actually, this is pretty cute. But where do they get their food from? Like, I actually have talked about this already to my friends in private. This feels like a post-apocalypse, right? Well, one of the biggest concerns in a post-apocalypse is food. And, I mean, can plants even grow under this circumstance? I'm not even thinking about animals, which is another thing. I mean... Yeah, oh yeah, by the way, so yeah, my helmet is still off. That's because I had to redo that. There we go. Helmet be gone. I mean, we saw the chocobo. I guess we could eat chocobos. What's a chocobo sound like? Or taste like? Yeah, they have gardens, but how? There's this thing. I mean, I guess it's magical light that just also happens to be visible as light. Forgive me, but the world builder in me looks around and actually wonders how it is physically possible for plants to still exist in this circumstance. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm curious if they even bothered to try and explain it at all. Like... Because from what I understand, this is FF3. Now, let me explain that really quickly. In FF3, the world was in a state of stasis underneath a layer of clouds, and those clouds perpetuated an aura of magical darkness underneath them. There was still the sun in the sky, they still orbited around the star and blah blah blah. All of the normal physics things still happened, it's just there was the layer of cloud cover. Now, of course, in FF3, those clouds also created the stasis situation. Obviously, that's not true here because there's the clouds and we can still move around and function and blah, blah, blah. So there's no stasis. But apparently, the idea here is that the sunlight, the actual energy of the sun, is still going through the clouds, which makes a degree of sense. It's just, like I said, I'm curious if they really go into this. But whatever, whatever. Moving forward. Welcome to Ron's. Yes, yes. What? You what? Okay. So he has meat, bread, and worms. I want to eat you. No, I'm kidding. And skewers of what looks like frogs. Well, I am a meat person, so sure. Ever-burning bounty made with the best parts of the lizard, cured with special spicy spices. Some find the smell challenging, but it'll warm you up on chilly nights. Oh, I have to look at all of them. Okay, sure. Bread. This is what Platy made. Mush loaf. The middle is stuffed with bittersweet cactus fruit, so even if the bread dries out, it's moist inside. Keeps you going in the heat. Worms. Everyone's favorite, plump white worms slathered in honey. Once you eat a glazed wiggler, you'll never want any other treat. Okay, funny fact, I was actually hungry in real life, but I'm not anymore. And skewers. Find small frogs under rocks, spear with a stick, and roast over a fire. Crackled on the outside, gooey on the inside. Perfect for a snack. They look tasty, yes? Which to choose? Which to choose? Yeah, I'll go with the meat. No, I'll go with the meat. Where's the meat? The meat. Which is that one. Yeah, spice in your step. You won't feel cold this night, and probably next one either. Do you have gold? I do. I have infinite gold. Oh, I should be keeping track of that one, too. So there's two animations that I get really sick of in this game. One you just saw, which is the... The other one, well, we'll get to that one. I don't look very enthused about this meal. You know, I have the power to bring stuff from my realm here. Why don't I just do that? And get food. Hey, pixie lady. Or guy. I think I'll share the rest. It's this one. I hate that animation so much. Mostly because it's overused. Our visitor invites us to feast. Yeah, you guys, you enjoy. Because it's impolite. No returns. So now I'm wondering what else the light does, if anything. Since we've already established it doesn't have the stasis effect. You honored custom with great relish. Yeah. You're always welcome in Mord Sook. Sook? I forget how we pronounced it. If you need anything in Amarang, we're here to provide. You have courage, my friend. Ronron's wares are more exotic than harmful, but I don't envy you the bellyache you'll have on the morrow. Right, now that you've eaten, back on the road, would you mind if we delayed our departure touch? I have a few deals left to close before I conclude my business here in Mord Sook. Sure. Offering your services. Well, an assistant would help hurry things along. I have a receipt for goods that need picked up from the market. All properly paid. You just need to lift and carry. I'll go ahead and take some last-minute haggling then. See you in a bit. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. Is that this flood of light isn't actually all that bad of a thing. I mean, you saw Crystarium, right? That is a hell of a place, given that they're in a post-apocalypse. What? Oh, right. Here, you. This. No? How about this? Ugh. I'm gonna have to actually read the thing, aren't I? God dang it, hang on. No, what am I doing? I have a better way of taking notes. Hi, Sal, dear. Don't mistake me, I don't want to see another Fallout, but I've played Fallout. In fact, I've played a lot of post-apocalypses. This doesn't feel like a post-apocalypse at all. It feels like a Tuesday. I think that's the direction I want to go with that. At least it's a little faster. But that's not... Yeah, whatever. That's what I thought. God, it's so slow. Look at it. Doop 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 doop. Bana 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 da na 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 na. God. Iron. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I guess it's been 100 years since the post-apocalypse. So it could just be that this is a post-apocalypse. And a ring dragon. Oh, whatever. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Must make it. Oh, actually, you know what would make it really slow? Hang on. I just realized something. Here, we will go extremely slow. Yes. Now at least it doesn't feel like we're going slow, you know? Behold the power. Anyways. Yes, I got everything. That's the lot. Good work. And quick work, too, considering you've not set foot in the place before. I'd thought you'd want to sit in the city like the Exarch, but something tells me you're not a stranger to visiting strange lands. Unfortunately, your efficiency prevents me something of a problem. I'd hoped to conclude my business before you return, but it seems there's some confusion over one of the orders I placed. I'll have to drag in my middleman and sort this mess out. Sorry to make you sit around and twiddle your thumbs. Cassard, feels like ages since I saw you. Oh, that's a she. Well, if it isn't the lovely Tesleen. It's been a while, but your timing couldn't be better. This gentleman was on his way to meet Alice. I'm supposed to be taking him to your corner of the desert, but a misplaced order has commandeered my attention. God, Alex. Wait, I know who you are. Alice has told me so much about you. You're Lore, aren't you? Yes, my character's name is Lore Runner. I knew it. How wonderful to meet you in the flesh after hearing all those stories. I'm Tesleen. I work as a carer at the inn, and I've gotten to know Alice quite well since she took up guard duties there. Do you want me to take over as Lore's guide, Cassard? My shopping's all done and packed for the road, so it'll be no trouble. That'd be a great help, thank you. Well, looks like you'll be able to head straight out after all. My caravan and I will be in the area for a while yet. Seek me out if you have your fill of Armang and want to go back to the Crystarium. Nod. I'm not sure what I think of these yet. I suppose I should explain that. So instead of giving you armor, they give you an armor chest, which changes to the class-specific one, based on the class you are when you open it. It also tells you the item level of it, which in this case will be 385, which is a little better than mine. So, plunk. Debating something. Yeah, let's go with that. Alice has been desperate to see you, Laura, so let's get you to her sooner rather than later. The inn isn't too hard to find, really. You can actually see the top of the rock spires from here. You just need to swing around the ridge, head south. Come on, I'll get my supplies together and we'll meet you outside. How does FF14 handle power creep? It's actually funny you say that. That's one of my own minor complaints about the game. Basically, the game's power increase is really slow. To try and demonstrate visually. Like, you see this kind of ridge over here on the west, like there. You see that ridge thing? Like, that's the relative power increase. It's very slow and very wonky. But put simply, a level 70 isn't that much stronger than a level 60, who isn't that much stronger than a level 50, and so forth and so on. Now, they are going to finally do a stat squish next expansion. I have heard about that. But for the most part, it's just been kind of eh. What the hell does quest sync mean? You like helping people? Yes, maybe you can help me too. You see, my son Gun makes me very proud, but he looks worried. He works very hard, too hard for his own good. He follows orders. He follows them till someone has to tell him to stop. This is very dangerous. Bad for his health. I need you to speak with him. Persuade him to rest. Yeah, Balthier is absolutely not in the game. This is not FF12. I don't agree, Omega Legion. Not really. But, shrug. It's neither here nor there. Either way, there isn't much of a power creep in 14. Although, considering how long they're taking in order to get to the point of going ahead and doing a stat squish, it's about normal for an MMO in general. That is to say, 3 expansions, or rather 4 expansions, to the end of the 3rd expansion. Ah, gotcha. So it's a level 74 quest, in short. That's interesting. Not sure what I think of that. He's singing. I'm not going to sing. Don't ask me to. Ah, I didn't see you there. Are you lost? Father says I must rest. I will not do. No, I will stop, but not yet. I need something to show for my efforts. I have no shinies. You came to tell me to stop, but if I refuse, your job will not be finished. I have an idea. You help me find shinies. Sure. I guess I could see that, Kellerick. So I'm working for the Jawas now. That's awesome. That's not even a joke. I like Jawas. Jawas are cool. Now, to explain a little bit about the whole power creep thing, let me use WoW as an example. Before... that would be Kata, I believe. So let's say you are a level 70 Doom in Wrath of the Lich King, and you decide to go back and try to take on a level 60 dungeon by yourself. You'd actually have a hard time doing that. And in fact, you would have such a hard time doing that that you would possibly not even be capable of it at all, depending on your specific class and setup. If you tried to do a raid with the advantage of the 10 levels in the gear, you wouldn't be able to do that at all solo. Not unless you were very specifically set up or very patient. And some raids either have timers, hardened rages, or other mechanics that you can't do, so you'd be screwed on that one too. Now, they changed that in Pandaria. They added a whole new tech, which I'm actually hugely in favor of, in order to specifically mitigate that problem. But it's the same thing in most MMOs. There is a power curve, but it's fairly granular. Basically, so I found a ring. I don't... You know what, sure, whatever. Peace. Just be thankful I have the mount music turned off. For those of you not aware, there's an option to toggle mount music, mount-specific music. But most mounts have this really weird generic theme I just actually don't care for. And then, of course, there's the Chocobo theme, which I also don't care for. While most of the wildlife will leave you be if you keep your distance, the local coyotes have learned to prey on folk heading home from the markets. I can usually swing a sword well enough to fend them off, but today I'm loaded down with too many bargains. Yeah, sure, I can kill them all for you. Alice was saying how much you... let's get going, shall we? Sure. Expectations? So everyone and their brother has been telling me that this is the best expansion to date and has the best story to date. So that's probably my expectation in a nutshell, because everyone's been telling me that. Sorry, there wasn't much time to shadow warning. Were you bitten? Nah, I'm cool. They're hardly a match for you. Well, I mean, I'm a healer right now, so I don't have much, but yeah, anyways. I have also been told that this is more Final Fantasy than the previous two. So that should be interesting in its own right. I mean, I suppose it depends on what you define as a Final Fantasy. By the way, this right here is why I didn't want to do Astral Ocean for this if I could avoid it. I don't know, I still might spend some of my off time trying to push another class. We'll see, we'll see. Oh god, because you know they exist, Omega Legion, right? There's got to be someone out there who thinks 1.0 is better. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. I actually keep Gisselgreens on me just for this. I actually usually forget he exists, because I'm usually playing a red mage. And of course, my Chocobo has the best outfit on. I know it's hard to see in the special effects, but it's there, I swear. Hyrax. Oh, you can actually see the enemies. So some personal quests you actually cannot, literally, cannot get another person to help because it's completely layered. How's that for weird? Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the trust system. Oh, hey, there's an Aether Current right there. Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab that one right here. Why not? I remember that. Nevermore. I've seen that interview. Why is she back here? Oh, I was clearing up ahead. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I am basically a white mage. I'm just better than a white mage. I mean, if you're down, Rex, I will totally accept the help. I will never turn away help on that. Thank goodness you're back. I can hear the howling and snarling from here. Frightening creatures. Let's hope the rest have seen your handiwork and know to avoid us now. Back to the inn. Woo! Shots fired what? Oh, the white mage. Listen. I can't fairly judge the other two healer classes. Because I haven't played them at max level, and because leveling alts is so slow, I've basically been de-invested from doing so. Like, at one point in time, I was actually really hoping to push everything to max. Because I'm kind of a completionist, but that dream has since gone away. You'll notice I only have 3 70s. 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 DPS. And that's about all I've been able to have the patience for. Never mind the time. So Sour Cookie is not quite accurate there, Bragwin. There are still solo-only quests all the way up to Stormblood. I don't know if they're still in this expansion, but as recently as Stormblood, there's still plenty of solo mandatory encounters and quests and all that fun stuff. This is it. Thanks to you, I didn't drop my shopping even once. Come to think of it, I'm glad I didn't make the trip alone. Seems you end up squirting as me. I'll have to repay the favor somehow. I can think of a few ways. Yeah, Pax has actually quit this game because the solo enforced thing was just too much for him. And I don't blame him. Welcome to the inn at Journey's Head. This is an inn. You might be our first visitor from the Crystarium since Alizé arrived. It's not much, but it's home for the affected. And do you want to put down the crate? That's got to be straining your arms. I have some skill with healing. I'm literally an astrologian right now. Let's see what the cards say. Sudden death. Okay, never mind. You're dead. I'm not sure if I can help in this case, but that's good to know. I don't think I've met anyone besides Alizé who is so unfamiliar with our situation here. Most folk have grown up knowing someone who knew someone. I might leave out something obvious, so it's best to have Alizé give you the full explanation. Okay. I actually kind of figured Zero. Which is cool. Oh yeah, by the way, anyone like the name of my chocobo? Where is she? It's funny you say that, XM, because if you've done the Astrologian chain in Heavensward, it actually is pretty scientific. I think she might be out on patrol. You could wait, I suppose, but why go through and surprise her? She usually takes a watch at the watchtower. It's not far. Head out the south side and you'll soon see it. I'll stay behind, in case she comes back while you're gone. Okay. Haven't even been using my cards. I think I do Omega Legion. I forget. I have 2 retainers. I was having one as just pure storage, and the other I was leveling. I hope we find out what the Crystal Wall of Doom is at some point. It's very pretty. Oh, Aether Current. Aether Current. Must get Aether Current. Astrologian, if I were to describe it in generic MMO terms, is a coverage healer. It's very good at putting up a lot of heals all the time, basically. So, all of the raid damage, or the periodic damage, or whatever. It's just kind of generally good at everything. Now, the big problem with Astrologian is it doesn't have a lot of cooldowns. So, if, for example, the tank takes a really big hit, you know, a tank buster or whatever, Astrologian doesn't have a lot in their arsenal to deal with that. Like, for example, here, I'll show you an idea of this. So this sucker right here is basically the equivalent of Tranquility over in WoW. But it's actually a relatively slow and small heal. The catch is, it heals basically everything in here. So I could heal a full 3 parties alliance within this realm. Again, coverage healing. It's there to make sure that no one explodes. Another example of that is this one right here, which is actually a DPS spell as well. And of course, there's the cards themselves, which allow you to buff people's DPS, and the big buff, which I can't show off right now. By the way, you can trigger this at any time. I just usually like to let it wear out, unless I specifically have a reason to proc it. But otherwise, it's pretty small. The big heal we have here, let me just demonstrate. So I'm going to do the big heal on Rax. That's 1, 2, 3. You can see my mana. You can already see the point I'm making. Now, I'm having out-of-combat regen right now. But basically, I have roughly 11 casts of this before I am completely out of mana. Completely tapped. That is my big heal. It is not, even in an emergency, it's actually not all that good. That is just the, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, button. because you're screwed if you actually are at the point of having to rely on that heal. Now, there is a proc that can make that heal cheaper, or I think free, actually, excuse me. But that's a proc based on the light heal, which again goes back to my idea of coverage. You're just kind of doing random, generic little heals in preparation for getting a nice big heal. Now, this is a new heal, so we'll go ahead and target him because I don't have this macroed yet. This is an interesting one. So this actually it's an instant cast, and this might help with the whole cooldown problem. 30-second cooldown. It also gives them a barrier, so it heals them, and then it gives them a barrier which gives them double that heal as a bubble to prevent them from actually getting hit. So that's actually pretty cool, but the catch is that is a heck of a cooldown, and that, you'll notice I don't even have it in my bars yet, because By contrast, what this is really good at is stuff like this and this. That pretty much ensures that, random, unavoidable damage or random AoE damage is the kind of thing that I can absolutely handle. So what happens if you stand in a black mage's ley line? Out of curiosity. Footprints on the ground, which lead 5 feet this way. Personal space. Speaking of which, can I just say something? And no one cares, of course. But it is one of my biggest pet peeves as a healer in this game that people will be all over the place. So, for those of you who don't understand the point of this, in this game, the range on your AoE heals is actually quite short. It's right about here for me to Rax. I'm pretty sure I can heal him from here. Let me... Wait, nope, he moved. He moved. Hang on, let's try that again. There. I'm pretty... Yep. I healed him from this range, so I was right. This is about the range on the AoE. It is pretty irritating. And that probably looks like a decent range, but trust me, in most boss fights or raid fights, that's nothing. So, for example, there'll be like someone like where Rax is and someone where Zira is, and then there'll be someone over here, and then there'll be someone like way over here, and then there's a boss over here who's actually with most of the melee, and it's just... So if you ever see me healing in melee range, that's why. Yeah, it's not a huge area. It kind of sucks. I've been petitioning quietly for years at this point that they just increase the range on the big AoEs, but whatever. Let them die. See, I can't think like that unless I'm really pissed off at the DPS, which has happened, or the tanks, which has also happened. I probably have to kill this one. Get out of my way. Oh god. Everyone's gonna die then. Just lay this down. I just realized I need to switch my companion to DPS stance. There we go. Yeah, that's the other thing. In addition to being spread out all frickin' over the place, people... How do I phrase this? We actually had a pretty simple policy when I used to raid seriously over in WoW. Hey, Rax, do me a favor and stand still for a second. And the policy was stack. Just stack. Like, this is the default setup right here. It makes sure everyone's in relatively the same... God damn it, Rex. So don't do it, Rex. It makes sure everyone's in the same relative area, which also means you can generally predict where AoEs are going to be targeted. So, in other words, everyone has to react to AoEs, but everyone can react equally. So if an AoE hits, we just all shift to the left and then stand here. So now and this would actually make it easier because in WoW, a lot of the AoEs were targeted ground effects, like you plop down a heal on the ground kind of a thing. So there would be a healing spot right here, stuff like that. Now, of course, that's mainly for the ranged. The melee are up there doing their own thing. But it was really nice to do that, and it frustrates the hell out of me that no one seems, at least the pugs I do, no one seems to do that here in 14. At least not the pugs I get. Then again, I did just have an absolutely awful pug in the MSQ. Rax can attest to this. I kept getting aggro as a healer. Now, with the tank changes, I kept getting aggro as a healer. And died.
Get back here!
Hi, Alice. And she breaks her legs.
Is that... It can't be.
Yep, broken legs. I know, just awful, awful tanks. They were terrible. Hey, Alize. Long time no see for you. For me, it's been like 3 days.
Just a lesser sin eater. Nothing to write home about.
Right, right.
I knew you'd turn up sooner or later, but I had been hoping for sooner.
Oh yeah, what data center are we on? Someone asked that earlier, and I actually don't remember because we've shifted. I think we're still on Goblin, but I'm not actually sure of our exact location anymore. That was it.
How are you?
Well, okay, so we're Goblin Crystal. There we go. That's where we are. It's more like all the servers shifted, Bragwin, to be more accurate. Now, it's someone said the only way that can happen is if they don't have the tank thing on.
Stand still, then.
That's not quite true. All they have to do is not do anything, or not actually target the ads, and they won't get aggro. Which is what was happening, by the way. I have a feeling, I wasn't able to verify this, that both tanks in our MSQ had the tank aura on, and it felt like they were both having a dick measuring contest, basically. And so they weren't actually doing anything productive. It really was bad, the whole run. It was just, ugh.
The Exarch did say that the Empire seemed to have drawn back when he last looked in on the source. But without knowing for sure how fast time was passing there, I couldn't help worrying that a lot might have happened since then.
Nah, don't worry. It's been like a couple days.
I'm heartily relieved to hear that it hasn't, just as Alphino must have been. As you can imagine, both he and Urianger were desperate to hear the news from home when I arrived. I haven't actually seen Thancred and Y'shtola yet, but they will have heard all the latest developments from the Exarch by now, or should have at least. When I think of how frantic Tataru and the others must be, I want nothing more than to rush back and reassure them.
It's okay, I sent her a letter. I'm apparently the only one who can connect back, because I'm the frickin' warrior of light. I'm not even gonna question that. I'm fine with that. So if you got any letters you want to send, you know, just tell me. I'll pass them through. I've got this pixie, he, she, it, they, is really weird, so...
But we still haven't found a way to reverse the summoning. And even if we had, we couldn't just ignore Urianger's vision. He may use 10 words where 1 would suffice, and they may often obscure as much as they reveal.
Trying so hard not to joke on that one.
But on this matter, he was as clear as day. I do not doubt for one moment that he saw what he claims.
Oh, I know, Finger Muffin. Valvedrix can attest to this one. I forget what we were doing. We were doing some random queue, and I was on a tank, and I basically straight up AFK'd. I hit a thing a few times, and then just went hands off keyboard to see if I could hold aggro while everyone else is going full tilt into it. I held aggro.
Nor how difficult it must have been to speak about them. The 8th Umbral Calamity and your death aren't exactly topics for idle conversation.
Nah, it's fine. Do you know how many times I've died in other games? My goodness.
As much as I might want to go home, I don't want to go home to that. We can't allow the rejoining to happen, which means we have to save the first from the Sin Eaters.
Okay. No.
That great wall of white is a remnant of the flood. 100 years ago, the balance in the first tipped decisively in favor of light. From that moment, it rose and swelled with each passing day, and then, without warning, it burst forth like water from a broken dam. A colossal wave of pure light, drowning everything in its wake. Only Norvrant was spared. For the most part, living things are composed of ether of various different aspects, but when exposed to such a flood, their etheric harmony is shattered, and their natural form breaks down. Then they either perish, or are warped into mindless abominations. Yes, that's how the Sin Eaters came to be. They were once living creatures, or people, that were caught in the path of the flood. Once the change is wrought, there is no going back. In that instant, they are gripped by an insatiable appetite for ether, and will happily gorge themselves on any living thing within reach. But even that is not the worst of it. The stronger Sin Eaters can plant light in us, like seeds in soil, corrupting our ether and triggering the birth of new monstrosities. They are creatures of base instinct that exist only to feed and to multiply. They feel no pity, know no remorse, and are utterly deaf to reason. Which is why they must be destroyed. Every last one of them. The infirmary is full of the Sin Eaters' victims, left here to spend their final hours waiting for the change to overtake them.
Now, I hate to say this, but that all makes perfect sense, but I then find myself wondering about that. Rax earlier said that the cloud sky is basically purely cosmetic. Wouldn't it make more sense if it isn't? If it's so think of it as low-level radiation, basically. Slowly affecting, corrupting, influencing, altering basically everything. Like, it's not to the point of absolute overdose of gamma like that crap would be, but you'd think it would still be gradually affecting everyone simply by existing. I think, yeah, Rax is party lead. I suppose in the interest of fairness, this expansion is not yet done, so it's entirely possible they'll go in that direction. Anyways, it's just a matter of time. More for some, less for others. Those patients will all become monsters in the end. To add insult to injury, the affected are feared, shunned, cast out of society, and exiled to the edge of the world. Well, yeah, they're lepers. Duh, leper colony, hello. The only good thing I have to say about this hellish place is that it served me well as a training ground. Tilsine and the others have also been kind enough to share their knowledge of the Sin Eaters. Well, hey, hang on. If they've been here for years, shouldn't they be really high level now? I mean, they've had a lot of time to gain experience, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, it didn't take me more than a few weeks to hit 50 the first time, so... Sorry. Here's what we'll do. I'll take the east side of the inn, you clear the west. These marks on your map are the usual spots. You can assume any beast with a white hide or carapace is a Sin Eater, but you'll know soon enough they come slavering after ether. Remember, it's kill or be killed. Once you've slain whatever's prowling there, we can rendezvous. Good luck, bye! Oh, that's true, they're not the PC, so maybe they lack the all-crucial power of leveling. Actually, you know what? Fair enough, Maneth. Huh. Did it? I don't think it always dismounted you when you right-clicked something. In fact, I'm almost positive it didn't. You'll notice I've gotten into the habit of dismounting manually when I reach someone to interact with them. Apparently they added that in Stormblood. By the time I got to Stormblood, I was already in the habit of manually dismounting. Whoops. Which you've probably seen me doing several times. It was a minor, very minor, but still, complaint of mine that I couldn't interact with stuff while mounted. I just see explosions of death going on in the distance. Yeah, that's something that a couple other MMOs let you do, XM. Basically, it's a toggle. The moment you successfully... So, how do I phrase it? So, imagine for a moment if I've got something targeted here, I'll demonstrate. I'm mounted, and I go to attack that thing, right? Now, nothing happens because I'm out of range, but the moment I get in range, the attack would actually go off, and that's what dismounts me. So basically, the moment you take a valid action, it dismounts you. Now, again, that's a toggle. I usually leave that toggle on, though, because that's usually how I travel. I mount, get into range of charge or hup or cast or whatever, and then immediately cast to pull myself out of my mount and get into combat. And sorry, Rex, I'm telling you, single-player game. How did you fare? I killed a couple things. Only a couple, though. Thought there might be one or two. Nothing out of the ordinary. I expect you'll notice it yourself, but individually, the lesser sin eaters are no more deadly than any natural predator you might encounter on the desert. It's when they appear in numbers they pose a threat. Much like the void scent, they have an unfortunate tendency to flock to the strongest of their kind. Thus, when a powerful sin eater goes on the hunt, it might be attended by a veritable swarm of weaker kin. Imagine an army of such creatures descending on a village or a hamlet. That's the basic idea behind patrols. Cull the ranks often enough that their numbers won't be overwhelming when the big ones come out to play. Yeah, I don't know about how feasible it would be to do that in this one, Sour Cookie. It's, this engine is very old, and its netcode is very old. Don't mistake me, I am astonished by how much they've been able to accomplish with such ancient, at this point, technology. But I do feel like that is probably the single biggest... Whoops, that's the wrong person. The single biggest problem with this game. Like, if I were to summarize why I have trouble playing this game, the ancient, aging engine and netcode would be the answer to that. LSA tells me you helped out on the patrol. You have our thanks. And apologies for leading you from one battle to the next. That's cool. Yeah, I don't mind spending an expansion paying for tech debt, but that is just me. That is just my opinion. Interesting. I've heard of that hazardous. In any case, blah, blah, blah. You have no idea how badly LSA has missed your company. Everything is always, if Lore were here, he would... That is an exaggeration. I don't sound like that either. I was simply trying to view matters from another perspective, and I respect Lore's methods. Honestly, after seeing him in action, I can see why. The way he leaps into fray without hesitation is really something to behold. Well, I do have my death squad with me, so... Although, in fairness, if I was a red mage, I'd be doing it too. I'm only teasing, though I have no doubt he gets... Hang on. I missed a line there. The way he... It's really simple. I might be a little smitten myself, is what she said. I'm only teasing, though I've no doubt he deserves all the admiration he gets. Yeah, we're not shipping us with Alize. How much younger than us is she? No. I should check that. Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I already have better than that, so I'll hold on to that for later. Oh, that's true. She had a time gap. Still, no. No, Valvedrix is... I think she's indicating I'm supposed to go this way. So, hang on, let me just kind of follow her directions. I think she's waving that way, maybe? Anyways. I'd love to lay out the welcome meal, but duties I put off when I went to the market are still waiting for me. There's 101 things that need doing. I'm sorry, do you mind mating something with Alice? What, and twiddle our thumbs while you work yourself to death? Surely there's something we can help you with. Do you think they'll ever actually update their models? I mean, they've updated their outfits a few times, but... I could do with a hand, it's true. Thank you. You can start by helping me sort out the larder. While we do that, could you tend to a few patients? There are 3 in particular I meant to visit. It's just a matter of saying a few words to make sure their skin isn't caked in sand. So we're nurses. Their names are Ponel, Tond, and Halric. They may not give much way in the response, but I promise they'll be pleased to see someone new. Well, see, you're the flavor Zero. We need the different flavor of hair. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there you are. See, we need the... I can't get a good shot of you. We need the poiple. See, you have white in your hair, too. I didn't actually notice that. Oh, yeah, I imagine we're like 25, maybe. If they ever do a full engine overhaul, that'd probably be the time to update the models, I'd say. I doubt they will, though. Like, as much as this may sound weird, it actually makes a lot of sense that they don't bother trying to do an engine overhaul and solve the tech debt problem. There's simply too many players who actively don't want that, who would rather keep getting content than deal with that. One of them's in chat right now. Don't worry. Everything's going to be alright. You're going to die horribly. Would you like me to kill you early? There's this guy named Arthas or something like that. He told me it's better if I just kill you by my own hand. Better they die by my hand than become your slaves in death, I believe was the exact quote. Halric remains utterly still as you wipe the sand from his cheek. The texture of his skin has hardened into something akin to plaster. So, like... cure, right? I mean, surely this is a curable thing. Uh-oh! Something's got Valvedrix! I got you, Valvedrix! Ugh! There we go. You're saved. We're cool. We're cool. Because this is a magical affliction, right? So it would make a degree of sense if there was some way to undo it with a counterbalance. Especially since this is literally an ether destabilization situation. And we know a lot about manipulating ether of people. You've seen to the patients? How were they? Good. I knew they would enjoy meeting you. I'm concerned about Halric. I'll have to speak to the others, but I think his time may be near. We shall leave that discussion till then. We'll have to leave... We shall leave you to have that discussion then. I was going to take Laura to Mordsuk if you have any errands that need doing. Well, I suppose there's one thing. Would you pick up nectarine from the markets? Cassard's caravan was just passing through, and Ron should have some fresh fruit. Fruit? Come then, Laura. Something I want you to see. Okay. See you around, Maria LeMay. Okay, so this is... Oh, God! Oh, God, it's gotten all of them! Run! 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 Get me out of here! I do too, Finger Muffin. This game comes closer to full voice acting than most MMOs, but I still wish it went further. The only one that actually really manages is frickin' Tor, of all MMOs. Nope. Hey, Ron. Back, are you? Need another taste? No. No, thank you. Actually, we're looking to buy a nectarine. Do you have any in stock? Yes, nectarines, peaches, grapes. How richly you cracked your coin purse. I might still owe you food. Here, take one, free of charge. Thanks. Yeah, honestly, I would be okay if they pay for the voice acting, or if they added voice acting just for the MSQ. Like, for this line on screen right here. That kind of a thing, right? Gods, I've never seen Mord Merchant give away something for nothing. How much coin did you spend here? Oh, yes, I'd like a jar of honeyed worms as well. Ugh. Oh, no, not for me. It's an offering of sort. Yeah, sure. Ahem, worms. Only the best wrigglers for you! Right, that's our shopping chores taken care of. Let's head up to the Aetherite of the main tower. The view I want to show you has only been best seen from the top. Yeah, STO is getting to the point of full voice acting, too. They've been inching towards that over the years, basically. So... I understand, don't mistake me, I understand how much of a thing it is getting full voice acting. It's just still something I want. I get that it's expensive, I get that it takes time. It doesn't mean I don't want it, you know? Here are your precious worms. This buys us a trip to the top of the tower, does it not? Wrigglers, you actually brought them. I really shouldn't let you, but just this once. Just this once. Never fails. Yeah, probably finger bumping. Oh, this might be voice acted.
Look, over there, where the wall is broken. Do you see what lies beyond? That's what the land became after the light flooded in. An empty white nothingness. Life cannot exist in such conditions. The primordial light would wreak havoc on the body's etheric balance. That nectarine you bought, it's Halric's favorite fruit. Most of the patients, Halric included, survived the attacks of powerful eaters. But their fate was sealed all the same. The monster's corruption has entered their bodies, and their very essence is being subsumed by light. The twisted state of the world itself just makes matters worse. Under normal circumstances, a person's ether naturally tends to equilibrium. But for these poor souls, the opposite is true. Sooner or later, every single one of them will turn. Tesleen and the patients, they all know this. They know what has to be done before the change goes too far, before the eater within takes over. The preferred method is mixing poison into their favorite food. In my time here, I've borne witness to a lot of last meals. I feel just as helpless as before. No matter how hard I fight, it's never enough. But it's a war I mean to wage, nonetheless. Speaking of wars, do you remember how I made you promise not to leave me and then promptly collapsed?
I mean, that was like a year ago from your perspective.
Well, let's just say I had a few choice words for the Exarch concerning the timing of his summons. But even if the fault lay with someone else, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd abandon you on the battlefield. So I swore that I'd make up for my absence there by making a difference here. And that's what keeps me moving forward, even when things seem hopeless. On which note, it's time we headed back. The longer we keep Tesleen waiting, the harder this will be for her.
So, I just decided to look up some factoids. So right now, this is going purely from a number of active accounts. So there are over 7 million active accounts in World of Warcraft, which is actually way down for WoW. But that still puts it at the number 1 slot. The number 2 slot is actually Elder Scrolls Online at slightly over 3 million. Number 3 is Black Desert Online. Number 4 is Guild Wars 2, and number 5 is RuneScape. Number 6 is FF14, which is interesting. Now again, that's only going based on number of active accounts, nothing else. But I have to admit, that's not the spread I was expecting. This is as of... what's the date on this? April of this year. So, probably Rax. And that's... it even mentions that down here, that this is an estimate based on the figures that they themselves have access to. Anyways. I'm glad I was able to show you that. When it comes to understanding the catastrophe which befell the first, one glimpse of the empty wasteland beyond the wall is worth more than an hour of Urianger lecturing. All I needed you to know and I needed you to know beyond it with doubt that Tesleen has no other choice. The Nectarine will be a kindness. It's just that the threat posed to others, when a person becomes an eater, the pain appears to be excruciating. The carers are truly fond of their wards and would rather spare them that suffering. It is their way of fighting back against a fate worse than death. Oh, I get you. Actually, free-to-play games don't have that high of playing figures, because that's not how that works. Like, I know that sounds like a strange thing, but free-to-play games or Korean MMOs usually subsist on a population of about 500,000 or so. And that's about it. Sometimes lower than that. They make their money because of, no nice way to put this, whales. So, as weird as this may sound, they don't actually need a large player base in order to exist. Yeah, that's not income. I have no idea how much money they make. Really, Valvedrix? I am a little surprised to see ESO that high up. I actually enjoyed ESO. In fact, I hope to get back to it someday. But for it to be in the number 2 slot, that is actually impressive. You're back. Hope you had a nice time. Did you manage to find a nectarine? I did. Thank you. Alize has explained why I need this, hasn't she? I can see it in your eyes. We may not need it just yet. I spoke with the others. We've decided to keep an eye on Halric for now. Thanks to you, though, if his time comes suddenly, we'll be ready to send him off with a taste of happier days. Wouldn't you rather do it now than later? I guess it would be his choice. Well, nothing's going to happen for a while yet, so let's see if we can lighten the mood. It's time for a welcome meal. Take a seat, have a stew. But I don't like stew.
Speak up if you'd like another helping. I made a little bit more than usual today.
And you've added something special to the broth, if I'm not mistaken.
Aye, well, it's not often we have visitors from the Crystarium, so I may have thrown in a few extra bits and bobs.
I mean, you didn't have gone to the trouble for me, of all people. If I want food, I'll just send my theory to the other world.
Oh, it's nothing, really. And we do so rarely have guests. In a place like this, you learn to take what moments of happiness you can get. I remember when I first came here with my mother. She was showing the early signs. knew there was no way to save her, but I just couldn't face what needed to be done. That's the way of it for most people. Why they travel from arms to stay here. Beaten, broken souls come to wait out the inevitable, to receive the mercy of a painless death. When my mother finally left this world, I was mad with grief, but also thankful that her passing was a peaceful one. It's never easy, ending a life you've cared for, even when you believe they go on to a better place. I often find myself wishing the Warrior of Darkness would come and do that part for me.
The Warrior of Darkness?
You've never heard the tale? I'm not sure where it began, but every child in Norvrent could tell you a version of it. Warrior of Darkness, servant of death, take care of our souls at our dying breath. Let sinners and eaters of sin go with thee, that all may return to the sunless sea. Well, that's the version I was taught anyway. It's just an old bedtime story. He's certainly never deigned to visit us here.
Which is a good thing, surely. He sounds rather ominous.
Do you think so? I always liked the idea that he treated every soul the same, even the Sin Eaters.
They're coming.
Desleen! Have you seen Halric? I swear, I only took my eyes off him for a moment.
Ahem. I feel like people in chat have been answering questions for me, but to be clear, I've always liked the interpretation that we are very powerful in lore as the Warrior of Light. Now, that is a debated topic, and the game itself doesn't really help to clarify that as far as I'm concerned. But I always like the idea that we are the heavy of the group, that we are the hammer. As for raids, yeah, no, there's totally raids. You actually don't need to be in anything. In fact, the only way to do raids is to go into the queue. Now, you can have a full prefab going into the queue, but you have to use this system regardless. So we have to find Halric. No! He's never done anything like this before, but it can't be coincidence. The other patients are suddenly so agitated they can sense something. In any case, let's keep search close to the inn. Halric isn't very sure on his feet, so he won't go far. I'll search the east side. I'll cover north and west. You take everything to the south. Okay. To the south. I mean, we've always been powerful. I don't really question that. Yeah, you can actually pug savages, unlike WoW, where you can't actually pug mythics. Not really. Yeah, I still call Bull on Xenos besting us, by the way. But I discussed that extensively back in Stormblood. I don't feel like covering that again. Yeah, Elidibus? Yeah, okay. Xenos? I don't think we could one-shot a city. We're not that powerful. But we are probably the strongest single thing walking around in the setting, at least that I'm aware of. I have seen a wide variety of quality from queues, Venters. So, that's my answer to that question. Oh, we could absolutely turn the tide of the war, a tide of a war, and have more than once. Oh no, it's a forgiven folly. Whatever the hell that is. I suppose the closest parallel to something more like real-life military would be think of us as the artillery. We hit like a truck, and we can absolutely change the tide of a war. But not... How do I phrase this? We still need our support, you know what I mean? We still need our backup, we still need our crew. It's one of the things I like about the idea of the party and the Alphino thing I mentioned earlier. Artillery might not be a good example. Maybe just literally a tank. I don't know. I'd have to think about that more. Yeah, we beat Omega. I mean, personally, we beat Omega. The only help we had there was Alpha and Sid.
Any sign of him? No luck then. But he surely can't have gone far. We should keep looking. The Sin Eaters are out in force, and if we don't find him soon, you can be sure they will.
Hey, it's that lady from the trailer.
Did you see the size of that thing? It must be one of the nasty ones. Wherever it's going, it can only mean trouble. After it!
To speak in different terms, Sonic Doctor, I would say that we are definitely a world mover. Not a continent mover. Not a country mover. We are a world mover. This is gonna suck to fight, isn't it?
There it is! Is that... Oh no! Ulrich! We have to run! Tessie! No!
We all deserve happiness, wherever we can find it. The time left to you is precious. No one should die in pain. Mother, I...
no, no, no!
Forgive me, Elizabeth.
Yeah, one of my least favorite points and one of my biggest story negatives in Heaven's Word is a moment of cutscene incompetence. The Warrior of Light is just powerless in cutscenes. I'm sorry, Laura. I tried to tell the carers what happened, but I can't be the shoulder they lean on. Not like this. Tesleen was always so cheery with the patients, telling them not to be scared, there wouldn't be any pain. All the people in the world to suffer such fate. I imagine you're just as shocked as the rest of us, so I appreciate what you're doing here. Me? I don't have the words. Without a body, we can't even give her a proper burial. And she cared about that sort of thing, about giving people the chance to say their goodbyes. Well, fine, I'll go kill her so you can have a body. God. So demanding. Halric is as unresponsive as ever. I spoke with the carers. Thank you. What you're doing, it means a lot to them, to me. Sorry to interrupt. I realized we hadn't thanked you for rescuing Halric, so... You weren't hurt at all, were you? No, I was over there. There wasn't even a fight. I was too late and too slow. And I thought I could protect you. You can't blame yourself for things beyond your control. You brought Halric back safe and sound. No one could have done any more. I mean, I probably could have. I won't be continuing my role here. I hope you'll forgive me for leaving you, and that you will delay Halric's last meal for as long as you possibly can. Why? He won't even get to enjoy it. He probably wouldn't enjoy it now. Not until it's too late, of course. Just give him what time you can. We always do. Of course, she would have done the same. Well, you guys don't have a protector now. Bye. Wait, you're leaving this very moment? I understand how you must feel, but surely this is a bit hasty. Do you even have anywhere to go? I have a destination in mind, yes, and a purpose. This damned light, building without cease, it's the reason we can't save those corrupted by the Eaters. But what if we corrected the balance, even if we're only a little by little, even if it took years? Surely it would make things better. Yeah, it was one of my original ideas. Hold on there. Everyone knows there's too much light, but how would you ever get rid of it? You'd have to change the whole world. I think I can manage that. God, she's half my height. We should return to the Crystarium. I may not be able to repel the Eaters on my own, but I can still use the skills I have gained here to hurt them. I can think of several things we could have done, Omega Legion. Thing number 1, rush up and kill her before she transforms. Thing number 2, rush up and kill her while she's transforming. Thing number 3, rush up and attack her while she has finished transforming. 3 things we could have done. Instead, we just stood there staring. That's what I thought. You're right, we couldn't have saved her, and I'm not trying to argue that at all. Yeah, we could have also killed the other Sin Eater that was there. The one that stabbed her for several seconds. Again, I'm not. Don't mistake me. I'm not trying to say we could have saved her, because obviously it was designed so we couldn't. But I still think we could have done something other than. I'm sorry. I'm harsh on this because I'm sick of it. Not in this game. In everything. It is such a common thing in video games that I'm just completely tired of it. Where the main character just, or whoever the protagonists are, just stand there watching during a cutscene, like, huh? And now they're doing that. Interesting. I mean, we were making fun of that in Pokemon just a few days ago. This is a cool song, by the way. Inching along slowly, bit by bit. You know what else they could have done? Just to spitball here. So let's say they don't want us to even try to intervene. Okay. So let's say we're running around trying to find this thing, right? So we rush up on top of one of these ruined walls nearby, and we pull out a little spyglass. I can't think of the term of it. And we're looking around, and the camera shows the point of view of the spyglass, and then we see him, and it's like, aha, there he is. And then the events happen. At that point, we are so demonstrably far away, there's nothing we could have done to begin with. Instead of being like 50 feet away, or whatever we were. So there you go. No interference, and it makes more sense. I was serious about what I said. While men and women at the inn battle against this blight with kindness, I must fight it my own way, with steel. So, Eorza's sword in the darkness to Novron's sword in the light? God, it's feels like an age ago now. Miss Alize, is there anything I can get you? Yeah, a ride. Your swiftest Amuro. I need to return to the Crystarium. With fireworks. As you wish. That's another thing you could have done. You could have had it so that the big thing brings in a few trash for us to deal with, which is literally physically blocking us from reaching the location. So we're back there, and Alice is like, God dang it, get out of the way. And she's a red mage. We know she's a red mage, so she could have been shown, you know, trying to cast her way through the literal barricade of enemies. Oh, I'm sorry, Rex. Where is it? I don't see it. No! Oh, I know, Neptune. Like I said, I'm just sick of it. I'm not giving it a negative. I'm not. Not unless it gets really bad. But I'm just sick of it. Remind me to wear goggles if we ever fly over Arang again. I've barely got the sand out of my eyes. But the wind did help clear my head, at least. I'm going to meet with the Exarch. We need to talk about how we're going to wipe the Sin Eaters out. Okay. And of course, we can't mount here. For some reason. Have they ever actually stated the in-developer reasoning for no mounts in towns? Like, I could come up with explanations, but I'm curious what the official explanation is. Right. That's the official explanation, Omega Legion? Weird. Okay, whatever. Thank you for seeking me out, Lore. It meant a lot to have you there at my side. I was tempted to set off again the moment we had decided upon a direction, but you still have to visit Alphino, haven't you? And if I know my brother, he'll be on the cusp of discovering something vital to our success, if he hasn't already. I'm content to stay here and consider our options for the time being, but don't keep me waiting too long, okay? To Alphino. I mean, the whale already clips through everything, Ross Elisu. Which I demonstrate, but, you know, I'm in town right now. Like, I don't know, I go to Limsa Laminsa, and I'd stare at it like, okay, that's... I mean, it's already a kind of a... a trolley sort of a place, you know? Where am I going? Right over there. Wait, is that up? I don't know. Let's just go over there. I mean, I don't have to imagine that, Omega Legion. I've played WoW. So, yeah, I'd like this, please. Signed by the Exarch, no less. Yeah, I can provide you with an Amaro for passage to Calusia. And here I was expecting a Chocobo. Chocobo? Do you hail from one of Norvrand's more isolated settlements? I hear there's a few places they ride little else. But here the mounts like that gray fellow are more commonly used. Seeing as you're plainly unaccustomed to rhyming in an Amaro, I think it best I accompany you on this flight myself. Any Zune worthy of his name could do it, of course, but the Exarch sent you to me. Ensuring you arrive safely is my responsibility. Gather your things and meet me at Amaro launch. One of the junior tamers will attend to you while I ready the mounts. Okay. Anyways, to be fair, I do have to mention that this game is... How do I phrase this? Any game has to decide based on time and availability what they spend that on. And it seems clear to me that they are spending a lot more time and effort on things like content than making the game better. I'm sorry, I don't mean that as a negative thing. I really don't. But you know what I mean? Why is this not... Do I not have that one? I don't have that one yet. Oh my gosh. I thought I had finished exploring. Let's do this one. And it is a very old engine, which is a bad engine. Like, this is legitimately a bad engine, as I talked about during the FF15 run. It is actually astonishing this game is as good as it is, given the problems in its way. And unfortunately, in reality land, the odds of it ever getting a tech debt update or a new engine are basically zero. I've actually talked about this concept before. Star Trek Online. Now, I like Star Trek Online, but Star Trek Online is kind of a crap game in several ways. They focus most of their time and attention on content rather than on making the game better. You know, it's the same general mentality. So yes, I want to fly. Let's go. Let's go.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't know how the internecine politics are going, and Square Enix is Square Enix. There's a reason I call them squirrels for brains. Like, they do smart things every now and again, and then they do dumb things, and then they do weird things, and then they do good things, and then they do bad things. I can never predict Square Enix. They're just all over the place. So who knows what kind of support the overarching company actually gives this game, because I don't know. And it seems to be intermittent, too. We've arrived. This is Cracked Shell Beach on the eastern coast of Kalusha. You should be safe here for the present. Compared to the mainland, Sin Eater attacks are far less prevalent, and native beasts are not any more dangerous than anywhere else. It's the people you should be wary of. Spy you that city in the distance. That is Ilmor, the island's main settlement. It rivals the Crystarium in scale, and was once an ally in our battle against the abominations. For years, the Ilmorian elite have fancied themselves the masters of what remains in our broken world. They've gone so far as to offer the leaders of other settlements their protection if we bend knee. But to say their ideals are questionable would be putting it mildly. The Crystarium is one of many who resist their heavy-handed authority, and while we're not at war, our relationship is strained at best. It may be wise to conceal your ties with the Exarch during your stay here, especially in vicinity of the city. I'm glad we understand each other. Now, the Exarch has instructed me to divulge a secret that should make finding a new friend a good deal easier. Listen closely. Of course Alphino would go to the political city of the elite. That is such a him move. Before we continue, I want to say one other thing about the whole support thing. Some of you may or may not have been around in WoW that long, but WoW used to have the same problem. And arguably it does now again. Once upon a time, World of Warcraft's funding and like all of the money it made, which was a huge amount, especially for the time, was being funneled away from World of Warcraft. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, so they were spending it on like StarCraft or whatever. No, it was actually being siphoned out of Blizzard entirely, because at the time, Blizzard was actually owned by another company, Vivendi, I want to say. And Vivendi was going broke. So a huge amount of WoW Vanillas and some of WoW BC's profits were all being pushed back into the frickin' the bankruptcy and the debts that they were trying to settle. So for the better part of like 4 years, WoW was basically operating under a shoestring budget, which in my opinion explains a lot of the problems with both WoW Vanilla and WoW BC. It was not until Blizzard bought itself out from underneath Vivendi that they actually started to cycle the profits back into the company, which led to Wrath and Kata. You know, it's not... So to be clear, it's not like I don't get it, and it's not like I don't sympathize. It's just, it still kind of sucks. Anyways, I am amazed I haven't encountered a dungeon yet, by the way. This is kind of weird. Anyways. If you head south on the coast, you'll come to a fisherman's shack with exploding confetti. A friend of the Crystarium lives there, a man who goes by the name of Ivor. Ivor keeps an eye on things that happen in Kalusha and will be able to point you in the right direction. Just give him a sprig of time that will let him know you can be trusted. Here, this should be enough. Find your friend. I will stay here with Amaro until you're ready to return. Okay. Peace. There's a Christmas... Oh my god, there's a Christmas bear mount. What? Hang on. It's like it's a teddy bear almost. You know, it's a cute bear, not a bear. Look at him. Look at him. That's why I say support Omega Legion, not just money. Obviously, money can solve a lot of problems. But it sounds to me, this is speaking from ignorance, but it sounds to me like what FF14 could use is basically a temp staff, like hire a team whose entire job it is to fix the game. Like, I don't have a better way to put that, right? Not develop new content, just to go through and actually polish and process the engine, or just completely overhaul the engine into a new format. To continue the parallels to World of Warcraft, that is actually exactly what WoW did in late Kata. you know, once they finally were cycling the funding of the game back into the game itself. Hence why Pandaria, literally, they decided they had to change the system requirements because the engine had so fundamentally changed when Pandaria went live. And it was noticeable, too. Like, noticeable improvements in general physics, animation, and, of course, texture quality. And Kata was a pretty big overhaul, too. I don't want to dismiss that one. Kata added the very concept of terrain layering, which was a huge engine overhaul. Yeah, exactly, Omega. Like I said, get another team in. But of course, he might not even want that, and that's a valid thing. You know, I don't want anyone else touching my baby is a valid perspective. It's just, you know, this might literally be a no-win scenario. And I know that sounds horrible to say that, but it might be that because of the unique circumstances of FF14, it'll never get better. Because the game has such massive tech debt and started on such a back leg because of FF14 1.0 and is doing well but is being locked by corporate and has a dedicated team, but that dedicated team can only do so much and so forth and so on. I feel like there's a lot of problems here, which basically mean this game is not going to get better in the long term. Now, it will, of course, have good content and good story and good all that stuff. I'm not trying to talk about that. The content has been fine. I have enjoyed playing through the stories of this game all the way through. Even ARR, which was a little bit bland at times. But you see what I mean here? I feel bad for Yoshi P. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Hi! I have a time for you. Have some time. Haste. I love a bit of thyme. Chuck some in the pan, it's like a bloody festival of flavor. I don't actually like thyme myself. Basil! That's my thing. Now, what is it I can do for you? I can't say there's been any major upsets to report the last few weeks. I'm looking for a kid named Alphino. He's about this tall. He's awesome. I'm kidding. He is awesome, though. Yeah, I know the one. Our young champion of the downtrodden. Ilmore's richer than all of Norvant put together, but it's a different story for them that live outside the city. Most spend every waking moment just trying to stay alive, which makes your friend's dedication to helping others stand out all the more. I can hazard a guess where he is now, but you'll need to meet him quiet, somewhere away from prying eyes. Did it just get darker? Make for Stilltide. That's the fishing village up the path there. You're looking for a rundown excuse of a tavern the locals call the Leaky Keel. That's not really what I mean, Omega Legion. Because 11 never really got better. 11 just kind of kept going, as it was, which is my point. The most likely outcome is FF14 will keep going as it is. That in 10 years, it'll be the same engine with the same issues and the same general gameplay as it is right now. No, the most likely thing, my opinion, is that if they ever decided to, there would be an FF16. And that would be FF14 too, basically. Functionally, if not literally. Hello, Baronessa. God, over 2 years out. This your first time in a tavern? It's custom to buy a drink if you're gonna loiter. Yeah, I'll have water, please. Fine choice. Yeah, I got Gil. Oh, there's another of those. Now, those are exotic. Where'd you come by coins like that? I'm sorry, dear. I don't doubt they have value, but I don't have a touchstone to test their purity. And I'm not about to go begging one from my neighbors, so you'll have to come by some other arrangement. Here's an idea. There's a common to the north where we grow our vegetables, but lately the pests have been eating more of them than we have. What do you say to a bit of extermination work? I want you to squash any vermin you find and visit the caretaker. Give him an earful for me for sleeping on the job. He'll be in the old silo next to the fence, snoring like as not. Do that for me and you can laze about here as long as you like. Okay. Interesting, Rausaliso. I haven't heard even the beginning peeps of rumors about FF16. Ah, that's actually interesting, Baronessa. Now, if they'd hit the good game... I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that when we were going through Pokemon Oros a few days ago. Japanese companies tend to have huge dinosaur syndrome going on. Just massive. Oh, you're right. Someone did ask that in Omega Legion, and I didn't actually answer that out loud. Circa Legion, I would say the WoW PC is substantially stronger. Because not only are we at that point a major player character who has a tremendous amount of experience under our belt and tons of gear, we have the artifacts. You know, the big selling point of Legion gameplay-wise. And that just made us doom. I think we took a severe dip in overall power level in BFA, not just because of the loss of the artifact, because of how much, I'm trying to say this without spoilers, how much went into concluding Legion, let's put it that way. So, at that point, I would say the FF14 and WoW PC are probably about equal as of now. That's not knowing Shadowbringers, though, so I'm not sure on that front. It's probably worth noting that, unlike FF14, in WoW there's multiple main characters, even in lore. Basically one for each spec, or one for each class, depending on which side you want to think on that way. Whereas here, it's far more clear that there's the Warrior of Light. Oh no! Anyways, yes, Dinosaur Syndrome. Dinosaur Syndrome, I actually coined that many years ago as a term for the office. Back when I used to work in offices all the time. The idea was, it's when someone just wants to lumber forward, slowly doing the same thing they've always done, without adapting, or being dynamic, or being progressive. It's basically an extreme form of traditionalism. We're doing this because we've done this, because we've done this. It's something I fight against a lot, actually. This is a lot better with a personal death squad, I gotta say. Have I mentioned, by the way, thank you to Rax, to Valvedrix, and to Zera for helping me on this. I do appreciate it very much. I agree. Changing just because is also not a good thing. Ultimately, both concepts are the same problem. It's doing something with no good reason. If you change for no good reason, bad. If you keep doing the same thing for no good reason, bad. That's... I know this is going to sound crazy, but I tend to be very much on the reason side of the argument. Have a good reason for doing something. If we keep using the wheel because it works, there's a reason we're doing that. It's because of the nature of how a wheel functions, right? It's not tradition, it's not dinosaur, it's something that works and we can use. Anyways. Actually, I did like that Omega Legion, although it took me a while to really wrap my head around it, because it felt like they were trying to basically just blend the two, and it took me a while to realize that they were literally doing that, like a reinterpretation of Ivalice. Oh my god, this freaking door. And then, of course, I knock really quietly. You hear a faint squeaking. Time to burst in and save the day, brave adventurer. That's literally what it just said. No one is home, and judging by the lack of furniture, they haven't been for some time. The gnawed scraps of vegetables on the floor suggest rats have taken up residence in their absence. Meanwhile, Rax is busting down the door. Yeah, I knew that. Omega Legion. Oh, I guess it wants me to go this way and interact with this ether current. By the way, quick aside, am I the only one who really stumbles at the pronunciation of ether? Because I see that and I want to say aether. In fact, I still mentally think of that as aether. Sorry, just a mild thing. They say ether in games, so I've been trying to say ether. I do my best with pronunciations. I don't succeed, but by God, I try. Then again, I say mana, so what the hell do I know? Welcome back, dear. Did that good-for-nothing caretaker have to say for himself? Gone. Must have gone to join the rest of the hopefuls. In Gate Town, outside Ilmore? You don't have a clue what I'm talking about, do you? I was thinking you were another dreamer. Well, never mind all that. Take a seat wherever you like, dear. You've more than earned it. I'll even throw in a drink. Of water, please. One thing I do very much like about FF14, you could pull up the chat in cutscenes like that. It's a nice thing. Especially when you're doing MSQQs.
And how is business today, Mistress Theva?
Oh, frenetic. Look, I have a new customer.
Tis good to see you, my friend.
Gate Town, Baronessa.
The barley seeds you wanted. They should produce a better harvest than the last.
What, just like that? Oh, Alfino, you really are a dear.
I was just thinking the same thing, Permeus.
I'd best be tidying up some of those empty shacks before the pests move in. Keep an eye on the place while I'm out, eh?
It seems an age since last we spoke. Not since the prisoner exchange in Doma.
It seems like an age since we last spoke. Da-na-na-na-na-da-na. Oh my god. That was from Vigilant. Because Vigilant has that timing. I know it. Yep, that was Vigilant. I was right. Hang on. Why do you blame Marvel and not Disney? I'm just curious, Vigilant. She's doing okay. I haven't gotten to talk to her a lot lately, so I can't really speak elsewise. Thank you very, very, very much, Vigilant. As always, your support is much appreciated, and you're one of my more long-term supporters who just kind of trickles in money bit by bit. I'm pretty sure like 3 separate runs have been funded basically just by you. So, thank you very, very much. You sure you want to put all of that towards Jedi Academy? Uh-oh, Valvedrix. What horrors do you have for me? Oh, I am so stupid. Hang on, I forgot to give proper thanks for the people who funded this run. God, I'm sorry. This morning has just been an absolute mess. So, to read it out loud right now, I'll fix the HUD during the break, which we're about at. But I just want to say very much great gratitude and thanks to Andreanes K89, Kazelzao, Rax, Frank Chiappa, Rasolisu, Nevermore 084, Mike 12192, Ginger Ninja 1, Recursive Exum, and Falderas. All of you have supported and put a lot of money towards this run, which is why it's one of the higher priority ones. So thank you very, very much, all of you, for your support. And I will update that and put the thanks tracker up over the break.
It has been even longer for me, of course, if you count the days I've spent here. But the time has only added to the relief I feel seeing you safe and well.
We thought we'd lost you.
Alize said much the same thing. I don't think I've ever had such a scolding. But I believe an exchange of news is in order. Come, tell me of your arrival and all that came before.
Well, you say... Kaivero Vilem.
I see. Both the Exarch and Alize told me what they knew of events, but I had stubbornly clung on to the hope that all-out war might yet be avoidable. And poor Tataru. She must be sick with worry. We must endeavor to return as soon as we may. It would be nice to bring her good tidings for a change. But before we bid this world farewell, we must first ensure that it is not rejoined to the source. We must prevent the 8th Umbral calamity.
We also don't have a way of going back, as of this moment, just as a reminder. I mean, we do, but you don't.
Urianger's vision of the future has, I fear, every chance of coming true. By his description, the catalyst for the calamity was a formless and deadly weapon employed by the Garlean Empire.
Hey, that sounds familiar. That frickin' gas.
Which can only mean one thing. Black Rose. Gaius was telling you the truth. When we were on the trail of the Asians, we saw evidence that the gas was being manufactured once more.
Yeah, no, it's 3 for Urianger and Y'shtola, 5 for Thancred, and 1 for Alize and Alphinaud.
Gaius was adamant that the project had been scrapped. But so long as there are wars to be waged, there will always be those determined to win by any means. And thus simply destroying the existing stores of Black Rose would do little to alter fate's course.
So we'll have to kill all the Garleans? Okay.
In that sense, our involuntary journey here to the First was something of a boon. Together with the Exarch, we've developed a theory as to how we believe the rejoining will be set in motion. I'm sure Urianger himself will cover the subject in more detail. But I can tell you the process requires that both worlds, the Source and the First, be facing an existential threat. One being Sin Eaters, of course. They are a menace that I would dearly love to remove, and not just to avert a calamity. I may be a stranger to this world, but I will not stand idly by and let innocent people be slaughtered. That is what brought me to the gates of Yulmore. Ignoring its pretensions as a kind of capital city to what remains of the world, it is nonetheless a center of power and authority. If any solutions are to be found, I believe our search should begin there. What say you, old friend? Hungry for another adventure?
I mean... Oh, there it is! Hate that animation.
And so we take to the road once more.
So I'm gonna cut off soon. Basically now, actually. But I do want to say something. Oh god, noise. I'm almost... There's no almost. I am actually disappointed on how little of a reaction Alice and Alphinaud have had to us. I was hoping for something a little bit more heartwarming. Like, I would actually have been... It would have been cool if they literally ran up and just gave us a big hug. Like, I was kind of... Wow. I was kind of expecting that, you know? What is that? No! No! Be gone with it! I must run from Valvedrix. Oh god, she's probably faster than me. Run! Anyways, she runs low. But yeah, so... Yeah, or broke down crying or something. Just, oh my god. Like, they haven't seen us in a year. Think about that for a second. A full year. Now, obviously I haven't seen Urianger, Y'shtola, or Thancred yet. So, we'll see if they give us a little bit more of a reasonable reaction to, you know, all of this. Okay, I think we're safe from Valvedrix. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and chop off the local recording.